I don't think so. No, I don't. I can't hear it on my end. Who starts? McCann, Yanni, Coolman, Dunn, Larson, and Drager.
What's up, Kraken fans? Welcome to the stream tonight. First ever watch along. Got a special guest in tow. They're doing puck drop right now. So let's bring in Alex, a man from Kraken, Canada. I gotta unmute him first here. There we go. Bring him in over here. All right. Looks like we're live. Good, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. They've already dropped the puck. We're getting moving really quick here. So why don't you tell everybody where you're joining from? A little background real quick if you want.
Yeah, no, I'm located just outside of Toronto or Ottawa. It's your discretion, 2 hours each way in Kingston, Ontario. So currently 10 o'clock here, so it's a little late, but that seems like it's a go-to normal thing when it comes to watching the Kraken here on the East Coast. So, well, pretty amped about it.
Yeah, I love the dedication. We're going to test your endurance a little bit here tonight. I know that even on the West Coast, we talked a little before the stream here. Sometimes it's hard to stay awake as you get older and you get more things taking up your time during the day. But anyhow, so yeah, thanks again for joining us. We can talk a little bit more introductory type stuff. We're going to take comments throughout the show. At intermission, I do got to swap batteries at intermission because my power adapter didn't show up. So all sorts of fun, like logistical stuff that we get to deal with on these live streams. And I know you had a couple things you were messing with too. So thanks again for being here, Alex. And check him out over on Twitter. That's at Kraken Canada. And so what are your thoughts coming in tonight? We got, looks like Drager and net, right?
Yeah, I believe so. From the last thing that I saw, I think it was that. Do you know what? I've been very interested with how, the goaltending has really taken place over the last, since the deadline. Like they've really started to really shape up. And I think this is what we're starting to see and what we were kind of expecting from the start of the year. You got both Traeger and Grubauer, and they're both two solid tendies. And, maybe we just had to let like the whole situation click. But, either or, they're both solid in my eyes. I think once you have a full season with both of them, I think next season you're going to be looking at a good tandem, going into it. I'm
definitely like that 1A, 1B setup. I think it's kind of a thing now in the NHL, it feels like. And, if maybe you get to a point where if you do need to move one of them and they're both playing well, that's a good problem to have on your hands,
Yeah, and I think if you look at their contracts, like what is it? Grubauer's at, was it 5.5?
Yeah, pretty manageable.
Like they're both manageable contracts. And if you look at like other teams within the NHL, they're always looking for a goaltender. Goaltenders are, hot commodities. So there's always that possibility of a trade. Now, I hope neither of them get dealt, because I think having a tandem, especially of those of those type caliber goaltenders, is key. So I don't see Francis really making a move like that, because, like I said, it'd be silly to lose one of them, especially if one of them goes down, you have the other one as a backup,
Yeah.
and that's the healthy competition.
So we got a couple people logging into the comments here. We got looks like Joshua saying good evening. Like to hear where you guys are watching from. Be great to kind of find out where everybody's geography's at. We got Paul Fish's Pacific Northwest there. What's up, Squatch? How you doing, Paul? And my buddy Michael Burton. Michael, we got to get you a Twitter profile picture, okay? We're going to work on that. I'll help you out if you want. Good supporter there. Thanks for tuning in, and good to see you. It looks like Ottawa's going to take a penalty here. Little high stick to the face behind the net. Kraken going to get their
4 minutes.
first power play. Oh, it's double minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 minutes, okay.
Yeah, Dunn took the high stick to the face, and it was a double minor. So, 4 minutes to capitalize. I think definitely have an opportunity.
Okay, Joshua's saying he's in Virginia, and he's wondering if we have maple syrup shots set up and ready for.
Well, I have them, so like if we need to do so, like I can totally do it. I got maple syrup.
I've never actually done. I mean, I've done a lot of shots before, but maple syrup's not one of them.
Do you know the funny thing about that is that kind of came out at the start of the season. So at one point we were all like there was a portion of Twitter, especially like with Kraken, Kraken Twitter, where we were taking shots of maple syrup every time the Kraken scored. Don't get me, I don't know how it started. I think
That's
I tweeted
great.
something ridiculous like maple shots, and then it became a thing.
So you're familiar with the Super Troopers movie? I'm assuming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
You know what? I never actually watched the second one when they put that out. I really need to do that.
I only watched the first one. I never actually got into the second one.
Yeah, same.
But like the first one's iconic.
Michael responded saying, "Yeah, we could definitely do that." So I'm just giving you a hard time. Usually, when I see the Twitter profiles, no icon, I kind of razz him a little bit. But so he's listening from Fort McMurray up there in Alberta, Canada.
Oh yeah, hey bud.
So, right on. Got a couple. Like I was saying in the tweets earlier, we're going international here. It's fun to like cross the border and make some new friends, and bring the Kraken nation and nations together.
What I was even going to say was that it's been so cool to actually witness like who's been watching the Kraken this year, because like I've seen people like through conversations on Twitter. It got people in Europe, between like I've seen Norway, I've seen the UK, I've seen Brazil, and they're all watching, which is
awesome.
absolutely, it's crazy, because like to see like the team get a market outside of not only like out of the US, but like out of like North America in general, to get it like South America and Europe is incredible.
It's
and I'm
awesome.
pretty sure there's other places that like I just haven't, that I'm not even recalling right now, that they're watching from, and it's been really neat.
Got a couple on Twitter from Japan too, so that's cool. Kind of the action. The Mariners always pull a large audience from Japan, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
The Kraken kind of.
We got a Dylan Sprong goal.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I saw the chance there from McCann. So our feeds, just a heads up, everybody, our feeds are a little bit off because we're in different places in the world. So there's the Spronger goal, and you know what, Alex, I got something set up for us here for goals tonight. Check it out. A little bit of a goal horn. No song though. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so no songs. Can't play that Nirvana song. Actually, when I was doing testing, I used it and I got a copyright thing, but I'm not monetized or anything, so it doesn't really matter. But I try to practice the way you should do it and credit and everything. So yeah, Joshua says, "Boom, Sprong." That's a nice shot there from the dot. What'd you see on the power play movement, Alex?
No, it looked good. Like it seems like one of their things is that it seems like their power plays really kind of figured it out. Like like what I've kind of seen with this team over the season, it's been a lot of like give and take, and there's been adapting. And I think that's one of the key pieces that, oh, what a save by Forsberg. But I think there's been like that, they're trying to like test the waters in a sense. And I think they've really kind of figured it out with which players work with who, and the
Hmm.
chemistry starting to really work. And the way I kind of viewed it is that as soon as they got eliminated from playoff contention, it was tryouts.
Yeah, rotate guys up into the top six, see what they can do, and I
Yeah,
think McCann. I'm not sure if he is tonight. I need to look a little closer here, but he was playing down on the third line, so they were rotating some of those, newer to the team guys, not younger guy like Victor Rask was up there rotating around. And one of the things that comes up, at least in the Seattle market a lot, is they talk about the power play structure, kind of that umbrella 1-3-1 setup. But how do you feel about that? I don't think I can like think of a team that's gone on a playoff run that uses that setup in recent history, but it seems like they're sticking with it. Not sure what you think about that.
I'm I'm always open to like new things. And I think one of the benefits with the Kraken is because they're such a new franchise, like you're kind of given like a fresh, like a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
So like the way I've kind of like this season, like I think we all had high expectations, and let's be serious because everybody
Yeah.
saw what the Vegas Golden Knights did, and as
Right.
much as I despise that franchise and what they did, in that first season as a franchise, everybody was expecting like incredible things with the Kraken,
Mm-hmm.
and I think as the season progressed, we kind of all had our everything kind of sorted out, and realized like, okay, this is probably not going to happen. Um, but I think what this season allows us is to really test everything. You
Yeah.
know, let's see if this works on the power play. Let's see if this works. On the penalty kill. Like,
Yeah, that's a
how
great
does it
point.
work? And like, we kind of like fudge those numbers and get kind of sort out everything that's going on. And then next season is more of like you know, we've gone through that first season. Now we're going to really jump into it. And
Yeah.
we're going to sort it out. We're going to figure it out.
Kind of
And,
start to solidify things a little bit more.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because like what I view right now in these last 6, 7 games or 8, I can't remember how many games the Kraken have
Six
left.
left after tonight. Yeah.
Six left now. The way I look at it is that, you have a bunch of players that are on, you know, the last year of their contract, or they're in their RFA year,
Yep.
and you're going to get, the opportunity where they're going to be trying out, in the sense where this is a tryout. Is Francis and the franchise going to be like, we're going to keep you on after this season?
Yeah.
And because we have the cap space and we have the picks to really play around when the draft comes. And this could really be, the opportunity for some players to be like, I've worked really hard. I deserve a spot on this team next season. But then the other side of this whole thing is that, we gave you the opportunity, it just didn't work out. We're going to let you go.
Right.
So I'm just kind of really interested to see like how that's going to work, and like, how this, these last few games go, because, a lot of people are talking about, and then, especially me for example, and it's been like, you know, 6 games left. Why don't we just bomb it?
Yeah. I mean,
Let's
part of
just
me wants to see that, but it's also like, you want to see them win. It's the first season. And when we
yeah,
go over to the arena, like, you want to have that good experience and get the new fans into it. And the last thing on their mind after they've paid to get into the game and everything and paid your $13 beers is, oh, I want the draft pick. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely that element. It would be great to see them get that first overall pick, but we're gonna have a great shot at it, right? I think the odds drop off. It goes like 25% down to what is it, about 13% in the
I
second
believe.
slot.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the actually
Pretty good
NHL.
odds either way. I mean, obviously you have the best odds if you're the worst team in the league, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and like I think it's 18, 13 point, or sorry, 25, 13,
Hmm.
like 7 or something like that. Um, but overall, I'm it's tough. Like, I would love to see the Kraken get the first overall pick.
Yeah. Well, and
But in
and then it
order,
kind of makes some of your audition decisions, like you're talking about with Sprong and Victor Rask and some of those types of players. You've got these guys coming up through the ranks really soon, so a little more incentive for them to maybe want to stick around if they want to be a part of something that's kind of building towards the next couple of years. More of a sustained build than this jump out of the gates and go to the Stanley Cup first year and
Yeah.
nothing against Vegas. Like they've maintained that pretty well. I was worried they were gonna have like a massive drop off after that first year, but to their credit, like they kept it going. They kept going after free agent signings, and they're right in the thick of things. They have a pretty good shot of missing the playoffs this year, so that would be interesting to see contract situations coming up there. But I don't know. I kind of prefer the long burn as opposed to the really quick flame, if you know what I mean.
No, no, I completely agree with you because, I feel like I've had this debate with like 100 different people. And a lot of people are saying, well, what Vegas did was like, it's never been done before. And you can argue, absolutely, it's never been done before. But look at them now.
Right.
They have multiple superstars with long-term contracts. They are cap strapped. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're over exceeding it already. They ran into issues at the trade deadline because they tried to trade someone, who said, no, I'm not going. And now they can't pull certain players off of the IR or the
Right.
LTIR because of it.
Doing that
And now
juggle
they're
like Tampa did last year a little bit.
exactly. And now they might not even make the playoffs.
Crazy.
So you're telling me that if you just look at that, what's going to happen when the off season happens?
Yeah. It get really messy.
Exactly. Like, you're going to have players that are going to be like, well, I want out. They're going to have to trade a couple players. And there's going to be some players that are like, no, I signed to come here. I don't want to leave. Where what Seattle's doing is, sure, their inaugural season hasn't been the prettiest. No. But, they are going to have, at the moment, they're going to have about 24 million in cap space.
Yeah.
They have
That's great.
draft picks for days,
Yeah.
and they have an opportunity to really build from there.
Lots of
And I think
flexibility.
exactly long term, Seattle has a better opportunity than Vegas. I think Vegas is going to be one of those teams in the next few seasons where you're going to start seeing, a lot of players wanting out. You're going to see
Mm.
a lot of players, getting frustrated with the franchise itself, and I think they're really going to start to really go down the depth chart. Where I think the Kraken, you're going to slowly start to see them build up, and it might not be next year, but it could be year 3 or 4 where you're going to start to see them compete.
Yeah. So real quick here, checking in, McCann with another big chance there in front of the net, and looks like Ottawa's going to go to another penalty here. I'd like to hear from you guys in the chat too. What are your thoughts on the draft strategy, cap situation? Anything on your mind out there? Go ahead, send it over in the chat. I'll put you up on the screen. We can talk a little bit about it. If you have questions for Alex, fire those away. Probably try to do a poll here at intermission. So let's see what the Kraken can do here. We're under 12 in the first, shots 8-1 Seattle. So they're off to a pretty good start here. Another power play. Let's see what happens.
This is like so Ottawa. It's from someone who's from Toronto, who was originally from Toronto, who
Yeah.
has watched the Leafs for like 20 years. This is a very Ottawa team. Um, Having said that, being a Leaf fan prior to jumping over to Seattle, anything can happen with that team.
Yeah.
Anything can happen with the Senators.
So just over, looks like we're probably about a minute left here on the power play. Joshua was saying getting the power play practice in. So yeah, they're 6 minutes worth here of power play in the first period. So see if they
It's not
can
too
make the
shabby.
most out.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's not too shabby, taking
Yeah.
any opportunity. I would even say a 1 for 3 is not too bad.
Yeah.
If they capitalize again, then sweet. But we've seen in the past where the Kraken have gotten 5 opportunities and not been able to score on any of them. So
Right. And then like it being a momentum, that's my big thing is that if it's a momentum killer, right? Like at least try to grab some momentum from it and like get some shots, get some cycle going, tip the ice a little bit. You don't have to, obviously you're not going to score on every single power play, but yeah, just like getting the wheels turning a little bit, getting the other team on their heels, and
exactly, like it's not an NHL 22. You can't score on every single power play.
so I don't
And
know
then
how far back do you go. So like the first ever hockey video game you play. Also, that's a great chat question. You guys let me know if you're gamers out there. What was the first ever hockey video game you played? So how about you, Alex? How far back do you go with the games?
I'm going to date myself. NHL 99, Eric Lindros,
All
PC.
right.
Wayne Gretzky, all those guys. Where the celebration was when they would score and they would just skate right directly into the boards and their arms would rise above their heads. And like basically pump. That was basically
Yeah, I
the game
remember
that
that.
I
It
grew
was
up
the
on.
straight up celebration,
Yeah,
arms in the air every
exactly.
time. Nice. So I go back a little further than that. I was a Blades of Steel guy on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
That is.
Well, my favorite was the NHL '94 on Sega Genesis.
I have played that one. I will admit I have played that one. And that's a
Yeah,
pretty good classic.
yeah.
You
There's a
know,
couple tricks to that one.
there's so many classics. That's the thing. Like I look at all the games that like have come out, and the fact that I'm talking about NHL 22 now, or like the fact that we're having a discussion about NHL 22, or I
Yeah.
remember sitting on my couch when I was like 11 years old playing NHL 04 and thinking it was like the best game I've ever played in my life, and probably racking up way too many hours on the couch. So talking about a game that's now 18 years its elder is like
Means it was a
mind
good one.
blowing. Yeah,
Josh
it's just great.
Josh agreeing here, NHL '94 for sure. So yeah, there's lots of even the younger, newer kids, they should try that one out. I think there's a way to do that with ROMs and stuff now, but I don't know.
Yeah. The other game that it reminds me, I think it was 02, but it was NHL Hits.
Oh, right. Was that on not PC? Was that PlayStation or
It was PlayStation, Xbox, and
okay, yeah,
GameCube.
both platforms. That
It
was
was,
moving into the console years, right?
yeah, I remember because I think it was pretty much the game that if you hit people like the right way, like you would catch on fire or something like that. It was like so ridiculous that it was like I need to play it.
Kind of like NBA Jam, more of an arcade
Basically,
style.
yeah, but it like brings you back to the time when like you have kids nowadays that ask you which was your favorite Call of Duty game, and you go the original Call of Duty, and
Yeah.
they look at you like you are ancient, and you're like, no, I remember playing the original,
Yeah.
and they're all like, no, like oh, Call of Duty 4, you're like, no, Call of Duty, like the
Just doesn't
OG, and they
compute for them.
no, and then you talk about the first, you talk about the first level that you ever played in Call of Duty, and they look at you like, what year are you from? And you're like, dude, I'm old, just accept it.
Yeah, we're dinosaurs, okay? We're roaming the earth still. Just wanted to point out just something I kind of thought of as we were talking here. Video games, we can get back to that a little bit, but I just wanted to point out the Kraken coming into tonight. I'm not sure if I was going to tweet this earlier, but they're 7-7 in their last 14 games. So that's 500 hockey. I mean, that's for an expansion team that struggled heading down into the stretch, and like you said, maybe kind of hoping to tank just a little bit. That's pretty impressive. I think maybe a little bit of a credit to coaching too to keep everybody going, but maybe thoughts on that.
No, no, for sure. Because so for me, like personally, I always keep an eye. I've been keeping an eye on their record from the start, and I feel like we got out of the gate relatively okay. I was like, okay, we've won a couple games, we've lost a few. It's our
Mm-hmm.
first season, and then the losses started to creep up, and they kept on creeping up,
Yeah.
and then it became to a point where I was like, well, are we going to hit 10 wins or are we going to hit 20 losses? Well, first. And then we got past that, and I was like, okay, we're going to hit 30 losses or we're going to hit 20 wins. And then it hit, okay, we're going to hit 20 wins or are we going to hit 40 losses? And overall, I don't know what it has been, but seemingly I think it's been since the trade deadline. And since the trade deadline, it's just been like, you know what? We're not going to make the playoffs. We've already established that. Let's just play hockey. Let's just have fun. And I think a lot of the vets, especially, have just kind of turned the season into a growing and learning experience and a teaching experience for all the young kids. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you're really starting to see it. Like, look at Jared McCann. Jared McCann's really taken off.
Yeah, he's really
He's been
settling in, kind of getting
he's
into his
really
groove.
settling in.
Mm-hmm.
And like that 5-year contract, my biggest concern prior to him signing, and I was a big advocate for him signing. I was always being like, yo, Ron, you got to sign this player up. He's good.
Yeah.
Former Maple Leaf, never played a game for them, but he's a former Leaf, and then they signed him and to a 5-year deal at $5 million. I'm like, first off, that's a great contract. Like
Yeah,
that
really,
is
really friendly to the team and to the player.
like incredible because if you look at it, he if he was a UFA or even I could argue that he could make 6 with the season he's having.
Yeah.
And that's debatable. 5.5 might be another one, but $5 million for me is a great signing. But then you have the sometimes you have the opportunity, the possibility, and I've seen it with some players in the past, and where they signed a big deal, and then they just stopped. Their production level just decreases. And McCann really hasn't done that. McCann has just been, is he going to hit 30 goals this season? He might. He might not. He's got the opportunity to do so, but he's really just what he's done with points and goals. Like the production has just been incredible. And I think he's one of those players that I think you're definitely going to see in this next 5 seasons. He's going to be a vocal point in this lineup.
Yeah, do you think he's captain material? That'll kind of be the next question that kind of comes up, and I think they've got a few guys that could play that role, and you've seen the leadership kind of come to the forefront here in the last few weeks, heading into the end of the season. He's dropping the gloves, trying to get the boys going, really putting them on their shoulders at times. So I'm kind of curious if maybe that's a role you'd see for a guy like McCann, or maybe Yanni Gord, or maybe even Matty Beniers, or just kind of curious. What do you think? Who's maybe going to be the next captain? Just saw Susie punch Kachuk in the face there. That was a little bit dramatic by Brady, but yeah.
Well, it's Brady Kachuk for you.
He kind of did the
he's a character. Him and his brother, both characters, but like they take after their old man, and
yeah.
Keith Kachuk is like, it's amazing.
It's great. It's great having those guys in the game. Definitely guys that you wish were on your team. It's not as much fun to play against. There's a replay. That was pretty good.
You're spot on with that. There's so many players in this league that I go, I hate that player, but I would love that player if they were on my team.
Yeah, it helps create that drama.
Oh, exactly. One of the players that I always talk about that I always say, oh, I hate him. I hate him so much. Is Brad Marchand.
Yeah,
absolutely hate the guy.
Yeah,
but,
isn't he? He's just.
But if he was on the Kraken, I'd be like, he's my favorite player, and I always said that when I was during Leaf games. That was one of my biggest things. But going back to the captaincy,
Josh chimed in too. He's thinking Yanni gets the C next year and McCann gets an A. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are.
I don't think they're going to give a captain. And I hope they don't. And the reasoning behind that is I think what they did with Giordano was a great idea. He's a veteran, he really solidified that captaincy and was like, you're going to be the first captain. Sure, he was only here until March, but he was what the team and the franchise needed. They needed a face, and they provided that face. Now they're in this position where you don't need a captain. You can have 3 assistants. And I think you need to wait.
Just kind of let it develop, see who's going to take the reins.
Exactly. Because I don't think it's healthy for an organization to just throw a letter on someone.
Yeah, I've never liked that either.
Imagine next season, hypothetically speaking, Yanni is captain. Kraken finish 25th.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline, a team comes in and goes, we're willing to offer you 2 first-round picks and a prospect for Yanni. And Francis goes, yeah. Okay, that's 2 seasons in a row that we've traded our captain.
Right. Rotating the C around a little too much.
Exactly. So I feel like if I'm Francis, and I could be wrong, but if I'm hoping that they kind of give 3 assistants out, they let the leadership kind of develop.
Yeah.
And after maybe a season or 2, when they really kind of figured out that core, they go, okay, this guy's going to be with us long term. It could be a Matty Bernier,
right.
Young kid, but in 2 seasons, he'll be more developed. It could be a Jared McCann who, after 2 more seasons, has really proven himself that he's, deserving of that leadership. It could be Yanni. It could be, it could be a wild card. It could be someone that you just didn't expect that really comes out of nowhere. And I think that's me personally. I definitely think that that's one of the opportunities that they need to really look at, because if you start just throwing that letter across, that letter is such a important part of every franchise. Normally the only important players wear that letter, and that's through any sport. Yeah. So to just kind of give it out to a player every year, and it might change. I have a hard time really looking at that and being like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on that. And at the same time, if somebody is grabbing the reins next year, and like obviously they're going to make that decision in the locker room and between the coaching staff and the GM and everything. But yeah, if somebody grabs it and goes with it, you obviously put the letter on their sweater and go. But uh, yeah, kind of letting it develop. Just the same thing we talked about with drafting and where they're headed with free agency and just the team in general. You just gotta kind of let it slow burn, right? Just see how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and I think that's like I said, I hope it's a smart way that they go about it because, you know, throwing it just at players and just hoping that it sticks is just not a way that I don't think it's going to work. I think it's
Yeah.
going to cause more problems within the dressing room and within the franchise itself. And I think you're going to get a lot more frustrated fans. You trade away
Hmm.
that player with the captain's, armband in a sense. I think there's a lot of players a lot of fans that are going to be like, you know, I just bought this $300 jersey for my child
Yeah.
because he loves Yanni and he's a captain and now he's no longer here, you know? So I definitely think it's a smart way. I definitely think it's the right way, but at the end of the day, who's to say, Francis already has that new player. Francis and Hack still have that player picked out for next season. We don't know.
Yeah. So we're just under 3 minutes here in the first period. Um, Kraken still ahead shots 10-5. They did have that first power play goal. Again, I've got Alex here from at Kraken Canada on Twitter. Great Twitter account. Check him out over there. Again, thanks a lot for being here tonight. I know it's late out there, and this is fun. I haven't been able to do one of these. I'm going to try to maybe do a couple of these during the playoffs, and obviously the Kraken aren't going to be there, but maybe we'll have you drop by. Got a couple other people I want to try to maybe link up with, and we've also talked about maybe doing like an all-star cast in the Twitter sphere and social media sphere for the draft. Maybe getting like a few bubbles up, doing like a little bit of a stream for the first round or maybe the first couple rounds, but we'll see. Just throwing it out there. Love to hear from you guys in the chat too. Like, what do you like about the channel? If you want to hit that subscribe button, that's always appreciated too. And if we can, you want to hit the like on the stream there underneath, that's great too. Helps me kind of build the channel, grow the channel, and I always appreciate the support. So it helps me keep doing this and bringing people like Mr. Alex over here onto the stream and kind of building that Kraken community out. So we're going to come out of the commercial break here. There's 2:53 left in the first. You know how these late goals happen sometimes, Alex. What are we looking for as we go down into the end of the first period?
Oh, I definitely think you just need to, you need to come out of this period strong. I feel like they've really capitalized off of what they can, what they've been able to get through. But I definitely think that they need to just be able to get out of this period with the lead.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with the Kraken. This is pre trade deadline, but it seemed like they could never hold a lead.
Yeah, and they were
Um,
giving up those goals early too. I think I counted it at some point, but I think I suppressed that memory because it wasn't a good one. But yeah, I mean they had those terrible starts and terrible finishes to periods for a while.
exactly. I actually remember tweeting out, I think halfway through the season, death taxes and the Kraken giving up a goal
Yeah, that
one
was.
minute after
I
1 minute.
remember that one.
Was it like 1 minute after they score or something like that? And apparently, a lot of us were thinking the same thing. Um, because that thing took off like a rocket. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're all thinking it. Um, I think they figured that out, and it seems like they have because it's a minute and a half left in the period, and they're still holding on to the lead. So let's hope they keep it on.
Yeah, I go back and forth with one of my friends. He works on a different podcast here in Seattle. His name's Jim, and I'll tweet at him a lot. I call it, the hashtag the clean first five. So you're getting through that first 5 minutes without surrendering a goal. So that's kind of fun because I know it drives him crazy too. He's a big Boston Bruins, and now obviously supporting the Kraken. I feel like a lot of people kind of have their former teams. You talked about it a little bit. You've watched Toronto for a long time, and any like really close affiliations like near and dear to your heart, or is it just all Kraken now?
I hate to say it because I know there's a lot of. It's funny because I grew up just outside of Toronto, So for me, the Maple Leafs were everything to me growing up, and everyone knows the disappointing
Yeah.
franchise that is the Maple Leafs. Um, and so, been a fan. I was a supporter, big, huge fan of them since like 1995, like since I was like 2 years old, basically. And it just seems like I will still watch them. And
Yeah.
to say that like I'm more on board with the Kraken is an understatement. Like I am fully on board with the Seattle Kraken.
Well, and
But
it's
I
cool
already
to be able
know
to get like into it year one from the ground up, so it's,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, will I watch the Leafs in the playoffs? Absolutely. Is there a part of me that hopes deep down that they'll eventually win the cup? For sure. Am I
Hmm.
more confident that the Kraken will win a cup before the Leafs? Probably. Will the Kraken win a playoff series before the Leafs? There's a possibility. Um,
Oh man, that would be
so you,
crazy if the Leafs don't win. If the Leafs don't win a series this year, I mean, the internet's gonna just lose their minds.
oh man, I always make the joke because there's always the everyone always talks about how like plan the parade, and there's always like the parade route downtown Toronto. And I always say like, oh no, plan the funeral because we all know what's gonna happen. And
Yeah.
like it's every year. And I think currently they're scheduled to play Tampa.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I know
It's
there's the possibility of them playing Boston.
either way. I mean, the, I've talked about this a little bit on some of my other segments, but the East is just gonna be a bloodbath. We were joking about it at the game, and by the way, we're into intermission now, cracking with that 1-0 lead. Um, but so I was joking with my brother just the other night at the game, and they're like, whoever makes it to the Stanley Cup from the East, they're gonna be rolling in like a wheelchair with one of those neck cast things on, and a leg in a cast hanging out of the wheelchair, and just probably pummeled in the face, and it's not gonna be pretty. I'd be really interested to see how that's gonna play out as the Western Conference champ comes through, and maybe a little bit of an easier path. I mean, it's never easy, but it just feels like the East is just going to destroy itself this year.
We'll think about it like this: the East, every single position for like every playoff position's already been clinched, like wild cards and everything. Like it's done. The West Coast, there's I believe 4 spots still available up for
Mm-hmm.
grabs.
Yeah, neck and
Like
neck.
that showcases the difference. Like I feel like you're spot on in the sense of like whoever makes it out of the East is going to show up to the Cup final half in the grave.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how we hear all those stories about at the end of the year where it's like, oh, Patrice Bergeron like had a punctured lung and played the rest of the
Right.
series. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, like like some player was literally on death's door. They had to like revive him 7 times in the dressing room during the third period, but he came out to play and he actually got the game winner. Like I feel like that's the craziness that we're gonna hear, like coming out of the East this in the off season. Like it's just gonna be insane.
Yeah, I remember the year Joe Thornton played with. He had his, the knee injury and everything, and then it was just because I grew up watching the Sharks and everything. I think that was just a few years ago, and he was playing with a. I think he played a couple of games with a torn ACL and MCL, and he's just skating around. It's crazy to see what some of these guys go through to play. Love to hear from you guys here during intermission. Who do you think is going to make it out of the West, and who do you think is going to make it out of the East this year, going to the Stanley Cup as we go into the playoffs? Alex, I think I want to do a quick 2-minute break here. I'm going to swap my batteries out, so we'll just do that real fast. When we
All
get
right.
back here, I got a couple questions for you. We're going to talk about trade deadline. I know you had some thoughts on that, and the way Kraken took it from there, and then maybe talk about goals moving forward as we go into intermission here. So we're going to take just a real quick break. I'm going to swap my batteries out. We'll be right back, guys. All right.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back here at Intermission. Our guest is Mr. Alex from Canada. Runs that Twitter account at Kraken Canada. Great account. Go follow that. I've been a big fan for a while. So just wanted to kind of catch up on the game here. We've got Seattle with 11 shots on goal. Ottawa with only 3 shots through that first period. Kraken got 3 power plays. The double minor there, and then another just a regular penalty for 2 minutes. And then Carson Soucy went for, I think it was roughing. Hit Chuck there in the face, and so they killed that one off. But the Kraken did get that power play goal. So we're in the intermission. Again, we're here with Alex from the at Kraken Canada Twitter account. Great guy, great follow over there. See, do I need to unmute you? Can you hear me over there?
We're all good.
All right, cool. So, a couple comments here from, looks like Joshua's saying, he just started getting into hockey in his early teens in the 90s, so he was a big Red Wings fan. But now Kraken is all he knows. So that's great. You know, as we've seen in Seattle, we've got a lot of people with prior rooting interests, and a lot of people I've talked to similar situations. So it's cool to see people kind of migrate over. Actually, I just took a good friend of ours the other night. He's a big Devils fan, and he had his Kraken shirt underneath of his Devils jersey. And by the end of the game, he had taken the Devils jersey off, and so that was fun. Joshua mentioning Florida and Calgary. So he's saying Florida coming out of the East, Calgary coming out of the West. I like Calgary a lot. What do you think about Calgary, Alex?
I think they're going to be the team. I
They're
feel like
tough.
everyone, the typical response is going to be the Avalanche.
Right.
And,
I mean, that's kind of where I'm leaning just because they're insane, but playoffs are a different beast.
but they also are the team that seem to find it some way, shape, or form to fail in the playoffs. Because if
Yeah.
you look at where they finished over the last few seasons, a lot of people have said the same thing of they're the team that should figure this out and should move forward in this. Like they should get to the Cup Finals, and they run into a wall somewhere in the second or third round, and that's it. I really like Calgary.
Yeah.
I
They're built.
really like Calgary.
I mean, top to bottom, they're fairly deep. They play really great. You know, they're a great offensive team. They play a tough, they stand up their blue line pretty well. They play great defense. They're getting pretty good goaltending. So, I mean, all those ingredients together. And Johnny Gaudreau's just flying around all over the ice when he hit his first 100-point season. I mean, I think it's going to be a really fun playoff in the West. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who ends up going. But, yeah, I definitely think Colorado for me. Sounds like you're kind of leaning Calgary, Joshua leaning Calgary. What do you think about the Florida Panthers with Jumbo Joe down there, playing a little bit of a reduced role? I mean, they could surprise some people. They've got some good players. Be interesting to see, though, what happens after this year down there.
I am so up in the air when it comes to the East, because the way I kind of see it is, sure, you have the Hurricanes, you have the Rangers, you have the Penguins, you have there's another team in there that I'm totally forgetting. But then you have Tampa Bay, you have Boston, you have Toronto, and you have Florida. I think one of those 4 teams is going to be the team that makes it all the way.
Yeah.
But
Those are all really good teams, too.
Yeah, but in order to get there, you got to go through, I think, 2 of those teams.
Yeah.
I as much as I think an East team, as much as I think an East team could win the Stanley Cup this year, I think the West team is going to pull it off. And the only reason behind that is that the East is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, just all-out brawl probably all the way through.
Yeah, and it just seems the most reasonable in a sense of like hockey, like when you look at like hockey IQ and you look at like playoff action and whatnot, like it just seems as though with all that going on, like if an East team wins the cup this year, it's it's on pure adrenaline and pure skill. Like it's like you're gonna have so many players that are just gonna be banged up, and they're just gonna be able to get through on pure adrenaline.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm probably going to tune in more so to the East in the first round, maybe 2 rounds, kind of see what the matchups end up being in the West. But I really want to watch some of those Eastern Conference games, and it works out good too because it's a little earlier in the evening for us here on the West Coast compared to you guys. But so, just a couple of quick announcements here while we're at intermission. I just wanted to pop up a couple graphics here on the screen. So out here in the Seattle area, Puget Sound, if you're going to be around this weekend, I realize I'm covering our faces a little bit, but there's going to be a watch party out at the Kraken Community Iceplex this weekend. Be great to have you guys come out. That's the 32 crew. Brandon Seeley runs that organization over there. Great guy. Works really hard, spreading the love for the Kraken Nation all across the globe. Go follow him on Twitter. Try to make it out to that watch party. Also today, this is kind of a fun announcement. Beast Mode and Macklemore are now part of the minority ownership group of your Seattle Kraken. So maybe we're going to see Marshawn Lynch driving. We've already seen him drive the Zamboni around on the practice rink. Do you think that we're going to get a Beast Mode appearance at the big arena anytime soon, Alex? Are you a football guy at all? I mean, I know you're
I am
into Premier League. You do some stuff on that side of things, but
I am into football. My taste in teams probably would not be appreciated. um, and this is I think I need to preface that the fact that I have been cheering for this team is before Tom Brady and before they decided to win way too many Super Bowls. I am a Patriots fan, but I chose them mainly for the fact that my dad's a huge hardcore Steeler fan, and I
yeah.
chose them in like '96, just to spite my dad, even at an early age. But deep down, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan because they remind me of the Toronto Maple Leafs and how they'll never win a cup. I mean, they'll never win.
Yeah. The Bills got really close last year. I thought they were a great team, and then that whole crazy ending to the playoffs there for them. But yeah, I mean, Buffalo, they'll be great next year, and but yeah, they've always kind of succumbed to the playoff curse, like you're talking about. Same thing with Toronto and those teams. They just can't seem to find the good luck when they need it there in the playoffs. But
yeah, they just can't shake it. Like no matter what they do, there always seems to be something that gets in the way. Whether it be like the Leafs blowing a 4-1 lead in the third period of a game 7 twice, or the Bills just running out of luck.
yeah,
It just seems like, I don't know. There's something in the water, I guess, over here on the East Coast, especially near Toronto and Lake Ontario. It must be Niagara Falls. We'll blame Niagara Falls. That seems like it's the source of all the problems.
it looks like we're about halfway through intermission. I was going to ask you a couple things here. So going back to, and I don't know if do you want to stick around another period, or how you doing endurance wise for timing?
I'm going to do another period. I'm
All
probably going to jump off at the end of the second period, mainly for the fact that I'll probably pass out and watch the third period in bed. Won't
Yeah.
lie on that. So I'll get through another period with you.
That works great. So why don't we do this real quick? I have another little graphic here. It's a list of, I think this is from Cap Friendly. And we were talking a little bit about free agency coming into this whole segment. So, whoops, pop that up. I don't know if you can see that or not, but basically it lists the top 25 by cap hit of guys that are going to go into free agency. So, all of the names we've talked about a little bit. Philip Forsberg keeps coming up. He's down there a little ways on the list. Johnny Gaudreau. It looks like, so Matthew Tkachuk, he's an RFA. I should have probably filtered this just by UFAs, but anybody popping out at you on that list other than the names that we've kind of talked about a little bit here and there for targets for free agency?
I want to say Philip Forsberg. For some reason, that name just kind of rings in a possibility with the Kraken. Um, it's tough. That's the one player that really sticks to me because I would love to see Giordano back, but I have a feeling he's either going to he's going to sign another year with the Leafs, or he's going to go back to Calgary. Um, Johnny Gaudreau is another player, and here's the thing as to why I think we could actually capitalize on a top UFA this season, this off season. We have the cap space. The cap is only going up $1 million, like $1 million bucks,
Yeah.
which does not help a lot of teams. You're gonna have a lot of cap strapped teams that are in this issue of, we're already right against the cap, and we can't sign this player who wants $7 million or $8 million or $9 million. Hypothetically, the Kraken have that. The Kraken are in this position where they can, entice certain players to come to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Forsberg could be the possibility. And that's, in my eyes, I see that as simply money. Money could really entice a player of those caliber type of players to come to Seattle. Having said that, I don't know if that's how Francis is going to operate. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I have a feeling he's going to do more dealing at the draft floor.
Okay.
And I think he could acquire a few players there. But I definitely see him signing some free agents.
Maybe
I'm
not too
keeping,
too heavy of a approach in free agency. Maybe
yeah.
just kind of dip your toe in. Maybe a guy or
Well,
two.
you can look at it both ways. You can look at it in, them going and getting, someone like Philip Forsberg. And if I'm right, I believe, I'm just going to double check his age.
Forsberg.
He's 27.
Yeah, I
These
think
players are
that's
looking for 7-year deals when you think about it. Like a player, like Philip Forsberg or Johnny Gaudreau are looking for 7-year deals. So if Forsberg's 27, turning 28 in August, he's going to be 35 when his contract's up. And you're going to be looking at probably signing him to a $7 million deal.
right.
So that's $7 million each year for the next 7 years, that you've already tied up in Forsberg. Whereas you can make a trade, maybe pick up a player who has maybe an RFA year in there
Mm-hmm.
or two, and kind of having that flexibility with the cap. And I think that's the difference where you're going to see where Francis goes with this, compared to where Vegas went. Vegas just kind of bought everybody.
Right.
Mark Stone signed him to a long-term contract. They
Yeah.
signed Petrangelo in the
Petrangelo. Right.
offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Huge deal. And you're looking at their cap, and it's tough. But if they're strategic, if Francis is strategic, he can pick up a couple players in the offseason, whether that be trade or free agency. That's not going to cap strap the team, because you want them to be able to really utilize that cap for the next few seasons. Because eventually, Beniers is going to need a contract.
I do it too. It's just so
You
easy to
know,
say Bernier.
oh, I do it all the time. But Beniers is going to need a contract. And I
Yeah.
know everyone's like, well, you'll sign him to a bridge deal. But what's a bridge deal going to look like in 2 years, 3 years?
Well, and plus,
5 million?
even if it is a bridge deal, you still want to, show that commitment, especially if he is playing well and fitting in and it's all going good. Like, you kind of want to show that commitment. And that
Exactly.
also shows other players in the league, too. Like, okay, Seattle's going to do good deals. They're going to do right by their guys that they're developing, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. So the way I look at it is, well, Jared McCann's making 5 year, 5 million, 5 years. And, but if Beniers is the player that we're all expecting him to be, and the way that he's kind of played in the last 2 games that he has been playing, who's to say the bridge deal is a 3 or 2 year deal at like 7.5, 8 million?
Right.
Like, it's a real possibility. And so if that's the case, that's already $8 million right there on one player.
Mm-hmm.
If we have currently $23 million in cap space, that's a 30-year cap space on
Yeah.
one player.
Yeah.
So
It
you
starts
really
eating
need to
into
keep,
it pretty quick.
and all of a sudden, so say you sign Forsberg to a 7-year deal at 7 million. Well, that's $15 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of your money gone.
And a long-term commitment. So you don't, as a
Exactly.
guy goes into his 30s, uh, things change. When you turn 30, I'm not a professional athlete, but there's definitely a line in the sand. Things start to change a little bit. Love to hear from you guys in the chat too. Who do you think we should be targeting in free agency? Maybe some trades and things around the draft. Love to hear your ideas out there in the live chat. We're going here now. 19 minutes left in the second period. Kraken still motoring along. Shots 12-3. Teams playing pretty physical with each other both ways there. Ottawa has the edge in face-offs. They just won another one there. I'm a little behind Alex on the feed, so you may get the good or bad news from him first. Sounds like maybe the bad news just happened. Yep, Ottawa gets a goal here. Looks like they break up. Kraken turn it over, center ice there. They take a 2-on-1 low. Drieger made that first save, but then the rebound kind of dribbled over, and they got another shot in there. Looks like Kachuk gets his first goal of the game. And that's not a guy you want to see smiling.
Is that because he's missing teeth, or?
Well, yeah. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't Kachuk. It was who was it? Brown.
Was it Brown? No, it was Kachuk.
Okay.
I think he got his own rebound.
Kind of watching the tail end here. Oh yeah, Brown
Oh,
slid off there to the edge.
Yeah, went after his back leg.
Dang. Good follow there by Josh Norris too. He didn't end up doing any damage, but he just kind of trailed in. Josh Norris has been another Michigan guy, right? Comes out of Michigan this year. I think he's got right around 30 goals. I'd have to look at the stats again real quick, but
33, 34 now.
wow. I mean, what a talent. Michigan had so many guys coming out of there. It's just unbelievable. I don't know how they didn't win the title this year, but are you very familiar with Norris? Did you get to watch him play a lot this year, or maybe when he was in college, or any familiarity there?
I wasn't able to watch him in college, but ironically speaking, I picked him up in my fantasy league during the draft for my hockey league at the start of the season, and I picked him up in the last round because I thought he would be a good just like point producer for like the Senators in general. Like I thought, if I get 30 points off of him, it's a good like late round pick. He far exceeded my expectations with 30 plus goals.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, it is.
I mean,
because nobody expected it.
I try to be pretty dialed in. I watch a lot of hockey, but I mean, for me, he just kind of popped out of nowhere. When you see a young guy hit the way he's hitting, it's just it's really, especially on a team like Ottawa that's struggled a lot, right? So he's doing really well.
Well, that's the thing. Like, because no offense to Ottawa, it's kind of like it's like Seattle. There's a lot of commentators and sports personalities that are thinking like when it comes to Ottawa, nobody expects anything from them. So when you have a 30 goal producer on Ottawa, it's a statement in itself.
Yeah, it's going to help them kind of go through their build, maybe a little. It accelerates their build and reassess things a little bit too.
Exactly, and I think it really kind of. Oh, sorry. It's 2-1 Ottawa now.
Yeah, I just saw a big hit there on the boards too. Looks like they caused a turnover behind the net. Now they send it up to the point, and they get a good shot down. A little bit of traffic in front. I don't know if that got deflected, but Ottawa buzzing in Seattle's end right now. Not a good second period so far for the Kraken. Looks like they're getting a little bit little bit of a lapse in coverage there in their own end. Couple turnovers now. The first one in the neutral zone, now this one in their own end. So what do they got to do to clean this up?
Well,
did that go straight in? I don't think it deflected.
I don't know. That was a tough one. It might have, but I don't think it did. I think it was clean. I think it looked like Grieger was screened on that one. They got to wake up. They haven't been playing well at all for the last 4 minutes, if I'm being brutally honest. And here they come again. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Josh just tweeted, or not tweeted, but sent a message that says double damn it. So yeah, that's 2 in a row, not great. Turning the tide in shots now. They came in what 3 shots? Now they got 7. Seattle kind of static right now. Offensively, they got to get things sorted out before this starts to get ugly.
Yeah, they really took their foot off the gas. That's one of the big things that I've noticed with the Kraken is that they get comfortable, even if it's like a really really light lead, like a 1-0 lead. Like
Yeah,
they tend to take their feet up, like their foot off the gas, and then it really damages them moving forward. And I don't know what it is with them, and they just can't seem to you know move past that. Um, I definitely think that's something they need to work on in the off season.
yeah. It's
And
not only just we talked earlier about how they're not real. Oh, here they're getting a little pressure on offense now. Maybe a little response. We talked about how coming into periods, the clean first 5 or the first couple minutes usually. So here it is again. But also, you've seen a lot of those response goals this year, which kind of going back to what you're just saying. They tend to, they get a goal, then maybe take their feet off the pedals a little bit, and teams seem to get those response goals on them too, which they've cleaned that up a little bit. But I mean, it was definitely happening.
yeah, um, I don't know. I don't know if it's not a mental thing. I just, and it's definitely not a cocky thing because if you look at their record says everything. It says otherwise. That there's no way that they can be cocky in the sense of them holding a lead. Um, I honestly don't know. It's a very weird thing. Normally, you can kind of figure it out, but when it comes to the Kraken, I can't figure it out as to why it happens. It seems like they get too confident or too comfortable
Yeah,
in
maybe even
situations that they
unlucky at
shouldn't.
times too. It's a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, but like, it just it's weird. It's such a weird thing to witness on how like it just seems like they just get too comfortable and then they just that's it. And then it just backfires. Um, but when but having said that, when the Kraken are on, they're amazing. Like there's some games where I'm watching them and they're like, okay, where has this team been for 40 games of the season?
Yeah, yeah.
So
They have those dramatic ups and downs throughout. Buddy Ty just logged in here. What's up, Ty? Uh, Good dude. Just wanted to say hi to him. He actually picked up the anchor pride towel for me at a game and handed it off to me. So just want to give him a shout out real quick. Thanks for jumping into the stream. And Josh saying, hey, Ty. Everybody loves Ty. Go follow him on Twitter, too. That's at @SeaKrakenDude. Again, it's fun to kind of meet all these new people and bring this the Kraken crew and community all together. Hopefully, we can get a little comeback going here. We're about 5 minutes into the second period. Not a great start for the Kraken here in the second. Shots right now 14-8. Ottawa eating into Seattle's edge there. Face-offs, I haven't looked at that in a little bit. Ottawa still kind of has the edge there in face-offs, but Morgan Geeky's been a pretty good face-off guy for Seattle. I haven't looked at ice time yet tonight, but it's hard when if we both have our sound muted because we don't want to rebroadcast the actual TV broadcast. But it is definitely harder listening without sound. You don't hear the names. Maybe actually seeing the flow of who's kind of around and on the puck more often. It's a little harder with the sound off. Do you usually watch like this? Is this your first watch along you've done, Alex? Or
so it's my first watch along that I've ever done, but most of the time I tend to have the sound down a lot more than it should be. So I've kind of learned to like kind of pick up players like just by their number.
yeah,
Um, but the commentary definitely helps.
yeah,
I couldn't like there's some games where you need the commentary. It just seems like it's chaotic
mm-hmm.
and you can't figure out certain numbers. Like for me, like I know every Kraken number,
Yeah.
but
It's a little
when it
harder
comes to
for
the
Ottawa.
Senators,
Yeah,
there's only a few players that I really know, number wise, and then there's a lot of no names. Um, so uh, it's a hit and miss. Definitely the commentary helps, but like I feel like kind of like when it comes to I think hockey especially, once you've watched it for so long, it's
Hmm.
easy to really follow. Like
Yeah, kind of
you
see the flow of it and understand, when they're changing the lines out and who the top line is and who's going to
Yeah,
play more and who's going to play less and who's going to be taking face-offs in certain situations. Those types of
exactly. Like,
things.
once you've really established that, and like if you've watched hockey for like I'd say 5, 10 years, you have a pretty good handle of, you know, relatively speaking, what's going on.
Right.
um, but I would even say like commentary helps that. Like
Yeah,
I've
that
been
kind of
watching.
kind of helps guide you to, where you should be looking a little bit or what to anticipate in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think that that kind of just helps benefit a little bit more, um, because I don't know about you. You probably do the same thing as I do. I commentate in my own head when I'm watching
Yeah.
the game. Like I always talk about it, and then
Well,
like,
and then I'll say stuff out loud, and
yep.
sometimes it's the same thing that they're saying on TV. My wife gives me a hard time about that, but uh,
No,
yeah,
I do the same thing where I say something out loud, and then my back of my brain, it's like, oh, I should totally be doing this. They don't know what they're doing, and
right.
then they say something completely different. I'm like, no, that makes sense.
Josh mentioned saying Ty is here now. The comeback is definitely inevitable. And Ty responds, he says, the other side of it is you see who is messing up that. Also, playing yourself helps a ton. So, Ty, he's known as the tank commander. Whenever he goes to games, they lose. But he got off the schneid the other night. He went to the game against New Jersey, and they got the first win with him in attendance. So, congrats to him for that. And
He
hopefully, they
broke
can
the
get a
curse.
comeback going here. That'd be good to see. Again, if you guys are just jumping into the stream, this is Alex from at Kraken Canada. Great Twitter account. Good friend over on Twitter. We don't know each other in person, but yeah, that's okay. This is how we make friends and meet each other across the border. It doesn't matter where you at. Um, I'm trying to reach out across all over the nation, all over the state, all over the world. That's kind of the way I want to do things. I want to meet new people and really help the Kraken community grow and the game grow in the Puget Sound because there's a lot of people new to the game. So, that's really important too. Helping people understand how hockey even works. I went to a game with a guy that had never seen a hockey game before, so I don't know if you get to experience that in Canada. Do you have people that are just completely uh, clueless when it comes to hockey, or I mean, it's part of the DNA up there. So is that very rare?
It's definitely yes and no. Like I know people that are so basketball obsessed that they've only watched, Raptors here in Canada, or like
Yeah,
they're baseball obsessed, or they're all about the Blue Jays or like another team, or they're soccer, and they just watch this. There's the odd occasion where you have someone that has watched their first hockey game. I've never experienced being at a game with someone who's been there for the first time watching a game. I also can't afford tickets to hockey games up here up in Toronto, to be so to
yeah.
speak.
Prices up
Um,
there are a lot steeper, aren't they?
yeah, it costs you two kidneys and your left arm. Um, so, but overall, you do have a couple people that I do know a few people that have been like never seen a game. I've watched it on TV, but have never been in like the atmosphere of a game. And it's so cool when you actually do. Like I have brought people to their first hockey game,
Yeah, whole new
and
experience and just taking it all in.
the atmosphere is just something that I don't think any other sport offers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've seen games where I've seen like men in their 80s get up, stand up, and jump around because there's a fight going on, and it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, just
It,
electrifies everybody.
it's just incredible. I've seen football games, I've seen soccer games, been to a rugby game, I've been to baseball games. The atmosphere is there, but I don't know. There's something about a hockey game. It might just be in our blood here
Yeah.
up here in Canada, but
Well,
like it's just incredible.
one of the things that people always say to me, one of the first things is, "Oh, the sound, right? The crack of the sticks, the passing, the banging against the glass, the skates as they cut across." That's usually one of the first things that they rattle off. Ty mentioning here, majority of the time I'm explaining something when I'm in CPA. Yeah, I feel like a tour guide. I've done that a lot this year, but that's good because, again, we're exposing new people to the game, and usually they leave hooked and want to go again. Like, hey, when's the next game? Can I go to it? He says once people key in to you, no, they tend to ask. I have no problem sharing. Tend to lose people when I go into setups. Yeah, so you gotta gotta bring them along into learning the game, and usually I start with, okay, here's what offside is. Here's how icing works, because they always ask that too. They go,
Yeah.
oh, it sounds so cool, and then they'll notice, oh, why are the guys jumping over the wall there by the bench, and then so how does icing work again? So that's kind of the natural progression of a new hockey fan, at least in my experience.
No, I run into the same things. My biggest issue is that I tend to go overboard and I explain
Yeah,
rules that no longer exist, that used to exist. And one time I got into a huge discussion with someone about the two line pass,
right.
and they looked at me like I got hit over the head. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, like back in the day, if the puck went over two lines and you didn't touch it until it passed the second line, it was counted as a two line pass, and the play was dead." And they're like, "Well, that's stupid." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah."
it was
And then they're
stupid.
like, "Oh, it was a terrible rule." And then they're like, "Well, why are you telling me this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like it was a rule. They're like, "Was it a rule?" Now I'm like, "No, it's not a rule." So they're like, why are you telling me this?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just got
Yeah,
into a weird, I just went down the rabbit hole of telling you useless information that I have
yeah.
about this game.
Well, it's, you just want to educate and share and tell
Yeah,
everybody everything you know, right? That's just kind of how it goes.
exactly.
So
It's just
we're just over 10 minutes left in the second. 2-1 here. Seattle trying to kind of re-engage after they had a rough start to the period there. Shot 16-10. Uh be interesting to see if somebody goes to a power play here. Just kind of get that feeling like maybe something's going to happen. Oh,
Maddie
it looks like we got a little bit of a
Benier.
celebration. Let's keep an eye here on the West Coast. I'm a little behind. Looks like Vince Dunn, cross ice pass into the middle, a little deflection, and we got a Matty Beniers goal. Is that what I'm seeing?
That's a Maddie Benier's
Let's
goal.
go. That's good to see. 2 goals in 2 games, and he had the assist in the game prior. So wow, he's fitting in nicely.
I like him.
Josh says, "Boom, Matty." Ty, I hope you were here for the goal horn. I saved that just for you. And if you just left the stream, please don't come back because obviously it was your fault that they fell behind. And now if you left and they scored, clearly there's oh no, he's still here. Okay. Kraken are playing defenders up pretty aggressive and regularly allowing Ottawa to retrieve their dump ins. So but it worked out there though. Yeah, he says, "Oh well, let's talk that setup." That was a beauty. They really moved the puck pretty good there.
That was very, very fluid,
So
which
now
was
we're under
really
10, 2-2. What's kind of the next thing we should be looking for here?
they got to put the press on. They have, I think they definitely transferred they have the energy now, so they definitely need to work on it and see if they can get a third goal here. Because if they can get a third or even a fourth before the end of the second period, it's a game changer. Um, I
Another
don't
big
know.
chance there too, right as we go
That
into
was
the
close.
break. McCann almost
Yeah.
put that one home. That would have been huge. So 9:35 to go. Starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah. You were saying something actually earlier. I think it was this period, or even in the first period, that Beniers brings a completely different energy to the team.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the youth in him, but like he's fast, he's energetic. He just brings that extra gear to the lineup, and it's such a refreshing thing to see, even at the end of the season.
And I think part of it too is it makes it re-energizes, makes the veterans maybe kind of like want to re-engage and show the younger guys how to be professionals, kind of how to, this is great that you're here for a few games and things are going well, but also there's the other side of it: practice, travel. You're playing an 82 game schedule now, so it maybe the leadership and the maybe dad mode a little bit kicks in. Like you want to show the young guys, here's how to do it. You want to help them along, and because you know it's going to help build your team. So all those things definitely play a factor. And like you said, the energy just has switched around a little bit, really since the trade deadline. But it'd be great to see him get another win tonight.
Yeah, like I said, I'm so conflicted with them right now because there's not many games left, but I want them to finish on a good note. But at the same time, I want them to finish as low as they possibly can
I know it's just like
because
you're torn in half heart wise.
oh, because I'm from Kingston, I've been able to watch Shane Wright play because he plays for the Frontenacs. Um, the arena is literally like 5 minutes from where I live, so like I've been able to go see some Kingston Frontenac games. So I've been able to watch Shane Wright in person, um,
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
and he's a talent. I
Yeah, I'm
know
really
there's been a
excited
lot.
to. I need to go watch some highlights, and I don't watch him. I haven't really watched him at all, to be honest. I feel bad saying that, but uh,
It,
you know,
it's and I don't want to get excited because I don't want to get my hopes up that he's going to be, that the Kraken will get first and that the Kraken will pick him and all that.
yeah,
But what I will say about him, if the Kraken are fortunate to draft, to get the opportunity to select him, is he's an all around player. And I think he is a center. So, him and Beniers are both centers, but I think Beniers has the opportunity. You can use him as a winger
yeah, a little more
or, or
utility.
vice or vice versa. Wright would do the same.
Hmm.
I think the two of them would work really well together because Wright can score, but Wright is a really good playmaker.
Yeah,
And I really think that if the opportunity does arise where we do draft him, a Beniers right pairing would be fantastic to watch. Two young kids growing up playing for
yeah.
a
Wouldn't
new
that be amazing?
franchise.
That would be amazing
Oh,
to get to see that play out.
oh,
Wow,
I would pay. I would
dreams
I
come
would
true.
fly. I would fly. I would I would spend money to come and watch a game.
Ty pointing out, just talking about Matty Beniers, he sent this a few minutes ago. It's just saying he's creative, not scared to try stuff. He does definitely have a little bit of that swagger you're kind of noticing, which I didn't realize he was going to have coming in. Thought maybe being a young guy, you hear all these conversations about skilling it up, and but no, he came right in and he's going to do his thing, and I have no problem with that. I think that's the way you should do things. I want to see that. I think new fans and old fans want to see that. So I kind of hope it keeps going. I would love to see him do some of these crazy goals and things we're seeing from Trevor Zegras and some of those guys that people weren't too thrilled about a couple weeks ago, and some of those comments came through. But I think that's where the game's headed. And I don't know, maybe what are your thoughts on that? I think it's good for the game, obviously, but how do you feel? From Canada, maybe different perspective on all that type of stuff.
I enjoy where the game's going. I definitely still think that hitting is involved in the game.
Hmm.
Um, but where the game is going, I enjoy the skill because what we were seeing, like back in the day, early 2000s and whatnot, it was all about heavy hitting.
Yeah, just
Fights,
grind,
you name
grind,
it.
grind, hook, clutch, grab. Yeah,
You know, was it fun to watch? Absolutely. Is it
yeah,
amazing when you see a hard hitting, when a player comes out of nowhere and just absolutely flattens another player? Oh yeah, it gets you pumped up. But seeing the talent from some of these kids and some of these players is just next level. Like for sure, you're always going to have a good hard hit here and there. We've seen it with some of the best players in the league. They can still deliver a hit. Like Ovechkin can deliver some of the best body checks I've seen,
yeah,
and he's a goal scorer. He's going to beat Gretzky's record. But I don't think I definitely see we're going into this new era of hockey where there's not going to be a lot of fights. There's not going to be a lot of heavy hitters. It's going to be more skill based,
yeah,
and I think that's going to go on for that can go on for the next 20 years. I feel like it kind of goes in spurts because you had time. I would even say like there's times pre 2000s where it was all about goal scoring. Yeah, sure, there was fights here and there, but like
hmm
it feels like hockey's just kind of going in a new way,
new
and I think
cycle. Yeah,
new cycle and like you said the Zegras goals or the
Troy Kelly
Matthews
too.
or yeah there's all these up and coming players that are just pure talent and skilled on how they on how different ways to score. It's
Yeah,
exciting because you see some of the goals that go in and I don't know about you over here. For me personally, I've just like I've dropped my phone while watching them. I've
Yeah.
like literally stood up and like been like screaming
And
or
like,
like
look at
trying
this.
not to
Did you
scream.
see that? And
Oh yeah,
usually,
like I need to send this to every single person I know, even if they don't like this sport.
yeah. Ty
So
saying skill it up or get the F out. So, I think we know where he stands on that. I think you're right, though. I think you do need the mix. You need the rough and tumble. You need the fights. I don't necessarily want to see that stuff go away. I think hitting, strong body checking and all that super physical play, it's part of the DNA of hockey, and it's what really draws people in. I think, even though the violence sometimes can be not great, you see some bad things happen. Uh, and sometimes the fights they don't go great when guys land dangerously or but there is still that code, not usually not seeing guys get hit when they're down and things like that. Kraken really pressing here, by the way. But I think you kind of need that mix. Even as this new cycle comes in, you've got these new skilled players. I think, uh, not to land on the wrong side of the fence of this, but I think the physical element of hockey has to stay, and you can't lose that part of it. You need that to be part of it for sure.
no, I agree with you on that. I think of a game that I was able to see actually a few years back. We're going far back. It was when Phil Kessel was a Maple Leaf and David Clarkson was also a Maple Leaf. So we're going back a fair few years. I saw a preseason game, and it was the time where John Scott went after Phil Kessel,
Yeah, I
and
remember that
John
too.
Scott dropped the gloves with Clarkson, who jumped off the bench, and then you had uh, Bernier and Ray Emery. It could have been. I can't remember who the other goaltender was,
Yeah,
and
Ray
they
Emery
ended
sounds right.
and they ended up skating to center ice and dropped the gloves. And I remember being there, and like I've been to playoff hockey, and playoff hockey is wild.
Yeah,
But the way that the crowd was, like the way that they were cheering, the atmosphere in the building was like next level with that type of a fight. And like
yeah, it
that's
just gets
literally.
it everybody out of their seats for that. It's
Oh, and like I said, I think this was the game where like I had an 80-year-old man, Victor Rask, um, literally cheering, jumping up and down, an 80-year-old man being like, "This is the best day in the like ever," and it's
so Kraken grab
so
it
like,
there, center ice, and like you just alluded to, Victor Rask down the left side puts it in, and we've got a Kraken 3-2 lead. Let's fire up that goal horn real fast.
I got to come up with way better tweets. I come up with it the first thing that comes to my head, and I tweet it out, which is not always the best thing.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely had to delete a few tweets here and there. Josh mentioned if other players don't like seeing these kids skill it up, then they need to be better and stop them from scoring. So that's
That's valid.
definitely, yeah, that's one side of it, right?
Yeah, no,
These guys
that's the way I look
celebrating. We
at
got Rask. What's the goal there? Everybody's happy right now. So 3-2. After that initial surge from Ottawa there early in the second, Kraken have kind of reclaimed the edge, the momentum, pushing shots now 20-10. A little more physical, 16-12 on the hits. Looks like Ottawa's got a little goalie gear issue here. Are they actually swapping or just fixing something?
it. I think a lace broke.
Okay, little equipment issue. No power plays. Right before this whole streak of goals happened, I was kind of feeling like, maybe somebody was going to take a penalty. Something was going to trigger or change at some point here. But Josh saying, oh, I got to read back here. Oh, he's saying Dylan is going to talk trash. He's talking about the guys from ECH. I don't know if you watch that stream. Those guys do a great job too. They do post game. They do, they do all sorts of media coverage. Another great element here in Seattle. Follow them over on Emerald City Hockey. Really great guys. I haven't had the opportunity to meet them yet, but I think as we go here, everybody kind of gets out in the community more. How are things going up in your neck of the woods for COVID and stuff like that? Are you guys Are you able to get out a little bit more? Are things relaxing, or is it still pretty tough? Or not to get into all the, COVID issues, but just in general, coming out of it, everybody's had a different experience. Just kind of curious how things are going for you.
Yeah, it's been funny. I was down in Toronto for big fight. I was in Toronto for the holidays this weekend, and the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, is like vastly different than
Okay.
out here in Kingston, which Kingston's
Yeah.
only 2 hours difference. Um,
A
but
little
everything's
little
normal. Like,
dust up behind the net, like you're talking about.
yeah, flurries dropping the mitts. But no, like it's weird. Um, like I think a lot of us have been like conscientious of what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I think we've just been more in the fact that like we've just been kind of going back to a relative normal. So
Yeah.
I think
Kind of
that's
ready to move forward.
exactly like, and that's been the way that we've just been kind of going about it. Um, because like the Blue Jays like had their home opener last week, and we had almost 50,000 fans at the game.
Wow.
And then the news is talking about something else about you shouldn't have more than 300 people in a building, and so
Yeah.
it's kind of funny when you hear things. But I think there's a good portion of people that are, I would say there's a lot of people that are being conscientious of what's going on, but not
Yeah.
allowing it to control what's going on.
Right. Like still being understanding of those that maybe are, immunocompromised and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I talked with a couple guests not too long ago here, kind of as I was getting started into my channel, and it's tough doing community outreach and things like that. And, now that things are starting to open up, it's cool to be able to do that and, meet new people and go out. Like I'm going to go out to that watch party this weekend and meet some of those people that I've interacted with on Twitter for, months and years and meet them for the first time. So that's kind of neat. But
Yeah,
yeah, tough time for everybody. And, hopefully we get through it and move forward in a positive way.
for sure. I think one of the coolest things actually with like social media nowadays is being able to interact with people within the same fan bases. Because like for me, I watch Premier League. I watch soccer that's over in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
and primarily speaking, I've gotten really heavily involved with it over the course of the pandemic. So I've gotten to meet people through online, and been like, hey, like, oh, like, where are you from? Oh, this is where I'm from. Like, oh, and then all of a sudden, a couple of us have been talking, like, man, we've known each other for almost 3 years now, and you're like, well, how the heck did that happen? And it's like, well,
Yeah,
those
just
people that you
blur.
just don't expect that you to get to know over the time. And I think that's the cool thing with social media. And you look at like, the Kraken, you know, the Kraken Twitter just in general. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people just kind of created an account being like, hey, I want to start following this team. I'm gonna just interact with as many
Yeah,
people as I can. And all of a
network.
sudden it's like, oh, okay, there's a good portion of people who know who you are, but you
Yeah,
know, why? Like when I look at mine, people are like, "Oh yeah, you're the person that runs the Kraken Canada account. Like,
yeah,
why'd you do it?" Like, because I wanted to, because I
right.
wanted to interact with the fan base. Because if I'm gonna, the way I look at it, it's like if I'm gonna watch a team, I want to interact with the fans and get to know them. Because it's one of the cool things is that if you can have conversations with everybody, then it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
am I completely overstepping this? Do I know what I'm talking about? And when other people are like, no, you're thinking the same exact thing that I am, you're like, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
going crazy.
Yeah, it's like everybody kind of had to adjust how they were communicating and seeing each other and interacting, and yeah, kind of interesting. I've been really interested in watching how viewership on like YouTube and things like that. It obviously skyrocketed through the pandemic, but
Mhm.
so coming out of that, looks like Seattle's gonna get a power play. Um, Ottawa shorthanded here, heading down into the second period. Ty mentioned Fleur to the rescue, little dust up there behind the net, and Josh mentioned too. He said surprised to see Fleury get into it. Yeah, he doesn't usually get into stuff like that, but and then Ty responded said, "Yeah, me too, but you have to with a hit like that on your line mate." So let's see if the Kraken can extend this lead here, heading down into the second. Alex mentioned earlier he's gonna stick around through the end of this period, maybe a quick couple questions as we head to intermission, and then he's going to sign off for the night. So if you guys have any questions for him while he's here, hit us up in the chat. If you want to know anything about what goes on behind the scenes at Kraken Canada on Twitter, now's the time to ask him, right? Maybe you don't want to know those things, but I love finding out this stuff. The more
Yeah, you can
awkward, the
think of,
better.
I was gonna say you can think about how my brain works and how I tweet things because it's like the most random thing in the world.
Yeah. Josh also pointed out, he said that's one of the things he misses being on the East Coast. Another East Coast fan. So thanks for joining in. Again, it's late back there. I appreciate you tuning up into the stream tonight and chatting. It's been a lot of fun having you guys interact throughout. But yeah, saying he can't go to those watch parties being that far away. So, maybe you fly out to Seattle and join one of those or go to CPA one day. Just under a minute left in the power play. I saw Alex roll his eyes. Oh, man. I see it now. Matty almost had his second of the game there from the left dot. Wouldn't that have been nice?
That would have
2
been
goal lead.
beautiful.
And then, potentially a lot of time left to make it a hat trick if that had gone in, but that's all right. He's really settling into that left side on the power play nicely.
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like he's been playing like with his line mates for like half a season. He's very used to it. He's comfortable. And that's weird to say after a few games.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the way he's been playing on the power play, he's the type of player that you can't drop.
Yeah, commands attention. Oh, Josh gave you a comment here. He says, I think this is in regards to, during pandemic. So he says, yes, but the randomness is part of the charm, Alex. So, and then Ty pointed out he lives down in Vancouver, so it's a 6-hour drive for him in the car each game, 3 hours up, 3 hours down. So that's some dedication there. I don't know.
That's not too bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's really not too bad. For me, if I wanted to, like I could technically drive, but it would take me about 4 days. Or I could fly. But so it's a long drive.
That is a long drive.
Yeah. So I've only made that drive once. So don't know if
how many
do it again.
You said 4 days, so it's got to be thousands of miles, right?
Well, I think the crazy thing about Ontario, my province, is that it takes, from where I'm at, it takes 24 hours to get outside of the province.
Oh, okay.
So I can technically drive to Florida in the same amount of time as it would take for me to drive out of my province going west.
Okay.
Which I do not recommend.
Probably especially in the winter too, right?
Oh God, I wouldn't even try that.
Well, I could actually hear the wind on your feed coming through earlier.
Yeah, no, we're getting snow tonight.
I'm glad your internet connection has held up, so that's good.
I've been waiting for it to die. Like
Ty's saying, with the long travel, he uses the podcast to help the time go by. So, yeah, I've definitely started doing that a lot more in the last couple of years too. It's no surprise to me why podcasts and YouTube and kind of the offline media that you can take with you has really exploded through last few years. And I don't think it's going away because I think people have found different ways to watch things now, hockey included.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's, my wife actually makes fun of me because she goes like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And I'm like, "Oh, podcast." And she's like, "You don't listen to music anymore." I'm like, "I don't. I listen to podcasts. I have like probably a dozen podcasts that I have on a go at a time, where I just like rotate through episodes when they come available. Like I never listen to music now."
So what's kind of your go-to podcast? What's like your favorite one? You hop in the car, what's the first one you're going to listen to?
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of sports I listen to, or the amount of sports I watch, I go through I have 3 podcasts, I think, for the Kraken alone that I listen to, another 2 hockey podcasts. Then I have 4 or 5 different English soccer podcasts.
Yeah.
And then I have another 3 or 4 podcasts that I just listen to periodically. So I probably have about 15 podcasts that I listen to. Yeah. And then they're all an hour long, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I haven't listened to music in a month.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, the day's over. I just listened to podcasts all day. Oops.
Basically, what happens.
All right, so we go to intermission here. It's 3-2. Kraken grabbed that lead back. Really good end of the period. The start of the period wasn't good, but they swing the momentum back. You like to see that fight. Alex, thanks again for joining us tonight. I got one more quick question for you, and then I'm going to let you go sign off so you can crawl into bed, watch that third period. Uh, and this is kind of from the pre-show notes. It's funny, I did some pre-show notes. We didn't even really get too deep into that stuff, but it's been really fun to have conversation with you tonight as we watch live. And so kind of my go-to one here, Dave Hackstall, right? Earned the ire just a little bit of some Seattle fans. I don't know if I was a huge fan of his work in Philadelphia when he was there. I'm not sure, being too critical of him here this first season is very fair, but, kind of wrote that. I said, I get it. I understand people are impatient. The power play hasn't been great. Defensive structure wasn't great, kind of disorganized. So I don't know, maybe having the guys not ready to go at times. So what do you think? Is he going to have a longer term future here? Or if we stumble out of the gates next season, are you seeing an early dismissal, or do you think Ron Francis is kind of hanging in there, sticking with them? What's your thoughts? And then we'll let you hop off.
I was quite surprised with the hiring, to be honest, because he was a coach with the Leafs last season, and I just don't think he fit well with the Leafs. And he wasn't really the right fit with the Flyers before that. So when he got hired as the head coach, I was extremely skeptical. There's a lot of red flags when it comes to Hackstall when I look at it. I just don't know if he's the right man for the job. Because I've also been extremely critical of him over the season. And I know it's the first season, and I know, you need to figure out your niche with the players and the chemistry and all that. We can get into a deep analysis of all that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a long-term coach. And the reason why I say that is that I think this season he gets the pass.
Right. Yeah.
Inaugural season, trying to figure it all out. Next season, once the off season's done, you're going to get a bunch of new players, I think, through trade and free agency. You're going to really reshape that roster. If they don't come out firing, or at least play like a 500 hockey, I would say for the first 20 to 30 games, I could see a coaching change halfway through this season.
Yeah, I think I'm
If he
kind of with
manages to get through the season, I don't see him going into a third season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's purely from, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more pressure from the fan base.
Yeah.
And once the fan base fully turns on a coach, that's the end of it.
Then it's time.
And usually the coach is the first to go.
So a couple comments following up on what you're saying, Ty, mentioning that the Kraken have everyone 7th to 10th best player from the expansion draft. He's saying Hack losing isn't much of a surprise. He'll be back. Yeah, I'm with you on that. If he loses with talent, and it doesn't go well, Ty's thinking the same thing. He goes bye-bye. I think Josh is saying the same thing. He gets a solid shot next season. Come December, got to take a look. And if it's anything like this year, probably hot seat comes out of the closet, and he's going to have to sit on a little bit and see what happens. But
yeah.
So, Alex, thanks a lot. Any last comments or promotions or anything you want to throw out there into the cyberspace before you hop off?
Well, first off, thanks for letting me join. I've had a blast tonight to be a part of this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
I'm hoping I can join on later on, and for one later on this season, or throughout the playoffs, or even into next year as you continue on with them.
For sure.
If you don't follow me on Twitter, then make sure to check me out on Kraken Canada. I am the most random. I would say I'm one of the most random Twitter accounts for Kraken when it comes out there, because most of the time I just tweet randomly. But I'm looking forward to following through the rest of the season and really taking aim in the off season. I think the off season is going to be an exciting time for the Kraken, and I think once the draft kind of hits, it's going to be. I think I think a lot of us are going to take a deep dive into that. So I'm really excited to see where this team can go. As we head off into the off season and into the second season of their franchise.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely check back in with you. Maybe do a quick segment or something around the draft time. Like
Sure.
I mentioned earlier, maybe assembling an all-star cast for the draft, do a live stream of that, and be a lot of fun to do that in the future. So thanks again. Great talking with you. We're going to go to a quick break here, 2 minutes. I'm going to swap my battery again. And we're going to go into the third period. Going to wrap things up. Going to keep talking to you guys in the chat. Let's give at Kraken Canada a big follow over on Twitter. Thanks again, Alex, and we'll catch you on another stream here real soon, okay?
All right. Thanks again.
All right. So we're going to go to break here. I'll be back in just a couple minutes.
No problem. Thanks again. All right. Sounds good. Have a good night. Bye.
So guys, back at it here. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Kraken going into the third period with a 3-2 lead. Again, thanks a lot, Alex from at Kraken Canada, for tuning in tonight, being part of the live stream. Take a quick look at the stats here. We got Seattle with 22 shots on goal. Again, they really turned the tide back into their favor after stumbling out of the gate a little bit in the second period there. It's still in favor of Seattle, being a little more physical tonight. Ottawa taking more penalties minute-wise, and Kraken getting a majority of the power plays so far. Got a couple comments here. Thanks for sticking through the break, guys. It helps me be able to take just a second there. I'm actually getting a new power supply for my camera, but for now, I have to swap the batteries out for this long of a stream. So thanks for your patience, and maybe someday have a sponsor, something like that I can throw up on the screen during the breaks, but whatever. Ty saying, so far looks like the Kraken are leaning stick side when attacking, 2 goals from the stick side as well, so maybe a tendency that they've picked out there on Forsberg, Anton Forsberg, the goalie for Ottawa. And then Joshua saying, gotta throw him into situations to see what he has and keep proving himself. I think, again, going back to the conversation about Matty Beniers, he's looked really good on the power play tonight and the other night as well. When I was in the barn for that game against the Devils, I thought he played great that night, and he got that first goal. So tonight, another great game from him. Ty, going back a little ways here in the comments, mentioned that Matty's currently 3rd amongst forwards in time on ice. He has the confidence of his team and coaching staff. So it's great to see a young guy be able to step in, feel comfortable, and do his thing the way he's doing it. It's been really, really impressive. Hopefully a glimpse of things to come. There's going to be struggles. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to be a rookie. There's plenty of time for that. So just expect it to happen. That's the thing. He's not the only young guy on this team either. There's still guys that are going to make mistakes. So we're going to get through that, improve as a team. Let's look at one of Ty's favorite things. I do have a heat map. I'm not sure if it's going to show up right. I didn't... let's go dial it in real quick here. A little tricky. We're live, so I can do this kind of stuff. You guys don't mind. See if we can get it to load right. Little heat map there. Yeah, that's good enough. We can see where majority of the shots. I think that's all situations. Unblocked shots, heat map, 5 versus 5. That just shifted a little bit there. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the offense is funneling through, the majority of the shots for the Kraken, where they're coming from. Ottawa, definitely, like I said earlier there in the second period, it looked like they were going to take control, but Seattle pushed back, said no, and grabbed that 3-2 lead. So we'll be coming out of intermission here in just a minute. A couple things to talk about real fast. We did take not a deep dive, but a quick dive into some of the free agency signings potential for the Kraken. We've looked at it a couple times in different segments, and just want to put that graphic up on the screen again. Potential UFAs going into the offseason. You've got all sorts of guys that are going to be available. I think the sweet spot, like Alex was mentioning from the intermission break there prior, I think Philip Forsberg is probably one of those types of guys that Seattle might go after. Just going to have to see if he's the right fit, the right price. Johnny Gaudreau would be awesome. I just don't know if that is going to be a guy price-wise that Ron Francis is going to target. I love his game. He's really fun to watch. And he's really had a great year this year, 100-plus point season now. But we'll have to see. He's going to get a lot of attention. He's probably going to get a really, really, pretty decent contract in free agency. We mentioned it earlier, but I just want to remind everybody, anybody that's watching now, later, I know this is a long live stream, probably not going to be many people watching later, but if you are watching now and you didn't hear, we're going to be doing that 32 crew watch party next weekend, next Saturday, out there at the Kraken Community Iceplex. Should be a good time. I'm going to be there. It'll be the first one that I've been able to make it out to. And I think it's a 5 p.m. game. Gonna look at the Kraken's upcoming schedule here right after this match. Talk a little bit about where we're at in the standings, where we go from here. But maybe throw that on your calendar. Let me know in the comments if you guys are going to be there. Love to hang out a little bit. Got to see Ty the other night at the games. Really good to see him. Joshua, I know you're tuning in from Virginia, you said earlier. I think we had Michael in here earlier. I was giving him a hard time about his Twitter profile picture, but he might have logged off. I think he's out of the Fort McMurray. So yeah, we're going into the third period. Really big moment here for the Kraken. Alex mentioned earlier, it's kind of one of those games where you want them to win, but it's going to affect their standings. So you kind of want them to lose. But I'm all in. I want them to win. I think either way, they're going to have a good shot at that first overall pick. They're going to have good odds. They'll probably be within, the bottom 3 of the league there, but one of the questions I wanted to ask Alex before he logged out was we did talk about it actually a little bit. Ty saying I was way too excited for the win Saturday. I actually had a fantastic time too. That was a great game. There was just really good energy in the building. I had my mom along with me. She's a little bit older. Our friend who was a Devils fan, and a Kraken convert now, and my brother got to go. I'm hoping to make it out actually this Wednesday to the Colorado game with the wife and maybe the kid and a friend along. We'll see what's gonna go on there, but yeah, the energy. If you haven't made it out to Climate Pledge Arena yet, the energy in there is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. You really need to make it out to a game before the season is out. And and like Ty just mentioned here, it was the loudest he's heard the place. I will definitely agree with that. Maybe there might have been another moment close. Failing to remember that right now, but it was definitely up there as far as the decibel level goes the other night. All right, so we're coming out of the break here. It was kind of nice having Alex be just ahead of me in the feed because I got a little bit of a preview of what was happening before it happened. And we were getting into our conversation so well, which is a great thing. But it reminded me to kind of look at the TV screen here. I've got a smaller computer set up so I can watch the game too. Looks like Macklemore and Marshawn Lynch Beast Mode made it out to the game tonight. They've been added to the minority ownership group for the Kraken. So that's really cool. Couple of community mainstays, many good years with the Seahawks for Marshawn Lynch. I was a huge fan. I kind of joked on Twitter about that'd be cool if I could interview him someday, but probably not gonna happen. It'd be great, but I said packed house with 45K at T-Mobile Park and 20K at Lumen. So that's a really good point. I think we actually talked about this, or maybe I was talking with my brother at Intermission, but for it to be that packed when you've got that much competition, Mariners just starting out the season, and the Kraken fans showed up, and they took the decibel levels pretty high that night. So that was really cool, really encouraging to see, especially as they were kind of heading down the stretch, struggling, and now they've coming out of the trade deadline. They've kind of turned things around a little bit, playing 500 hockey, looking to go to the winning side of that tonight. I mentioned earlier they're 7-7 in their last 14, so they could actually go, if they get a win tonight. I don't want to jinx anything, but they could go to 8-7 in the last 15 with a win. So they're finishing up this power play. For me, I've got about 9 seconds. The clock in the third there is at 19:13. Josh saying, just gotta say, I love the production quality and graphics you do on here. They're awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I do put a lot of work into the production side of things. At first, it started as kind of a hobby, and I've really gotten into it. I really I try hard to find a lot of copyright-free music that I can play, so I don't have to worry about that type of stuff. But yeah, you should check out some of my other segments if you haven't. Hit that subscribe button, Joshua, if you'd like. You can go check out. I do a morning cup of Kraken. I'm trying to launch another segment called Kraken Rants. Oh yeah, so Eberle's gonna go to the box here. Kraken going shorthanded, just over 19 minutes. So this is a tense moment. We're gonna have to keep an eye on this. But yeah, check out some of my other segments. I do the post game rapid reaction, usually live right after the games. I can't do every game just because of the way my schedule works, and when I actually go into the game, it takes me a little while to get home, so I'm not able to live stream every game. But it's a little change of pace from maybe some of your other post game routines. So maybe pop by next time. I always appreciate it. Love interacting with you guys, and I'm having a great time doing this. I'm going to keep it up, keep improving. So yeah, I appreciate that comment, and thanks for noticing that. All right, so Ottawa going to the power play here. They only have 10 shots on goal, so they really need to try to ramp it up here if they're going to tie the game against the Kraken. Ty agrees. Big time kill. Curious to see if they can go on the attack given the opportunity. So I'm at 18:30. I'm actually right around the same time on the ticker on my screen. It's pretty close. Power kill time. Yeah, Josh was saying power kill time. You hear that a lot. Honestly, I've thought that their power kill, their penalty kill has been pretty good. I know that I don't think JC's on the stream tonight, but he doesn't really enjoy the term power kill. It bugs him. He's a good guy. I haven't actually met him in person yet either. Isn't this crazy? We're all uploaded into the metaverse interacting. But, as things go on, it's fun to meet you guys. And for some of those viewers that are out East Coast or other places that aren't in Seattle, again, I appreciate you jumping into the stream. This is a great way to kind of build the community, the Kraken community, build it up, network a little bit. And someday when you do make it out to Climate Pledge Arena, just hit me up, tweet at me, let me know. I'm always up for meeting up in the concourse there, grabbing a beer or, whatever, nachos, a soda, doesn't matter. Ty says the answer is yes, good chance by Geeks and Sheehan. I'm just a little bit behind here. So they're icing it away down here in Ottawa's end, wasting a little bit of time. Got to get through this if they're going to keep it a 1-goal lead. Oh, the other one I was going to mention to Joshua and just viewers in general, not to go too far down the rabbit hole of promoting things, but I am trying to do another segment called Kraken Rants. It looks like we just successfully killed the penalty there. So Kraken coming through that, safe. Right around 17 minutes left in the third period. So here we go. Can we re-engage now, push this momentum back into Ottawa's end, get some chances, and finish this one off? So I'll post this number over here if you're watching, or if you're feeling frisky or frustrated, even if you just want to leave like kind of a prank call. I've had a couple friends do that too. It's fun. I haven't put the segment together yet. I'm going to collect all these voicemails together. But yeah, there's the Kraken Rants voicemail line. So give that number a call, 206-486-4732. Maybe not tonight, maybe later, whenever. Just call it, leave a message if you're frustrated about something, or maybe the game didn't go good that night. Or, so the whole idea is I want Kraken Rants, and I'm going to basically compile those together and make a segment out of it. It should be pretty funny. Ty pointing out, great read there by Susie. Kraken with 8 giveaways right now. They've been pretty clean. They've had these moments, though, where they get a little bit losing attention to detail through the neutral zone. I've seen it a couple times, but the good news there is that it's kind of happened in short bursts and not throughout the whole course of the game. Ty also mentioning you see Matty getting deep in the forecheck there. That's always good. You want to see him grinding his feet, get down in those corners, contest the puck, create some battles for the puck down low there. Keep Ottawa honest, make them work for it. So they're trying to get down there, cycle around a little bit, but Seattle's kind of keeping them on the edge. And then another turnover there by Ottawa at the top of the zone. So Seattle doing pretty good. It looks like we're going to get through. Well, I don't want to jinx it yet. Don't want to jinx it just yet. They're moving their feet pretty good. I'm seeing some good skating. Ottawa here. Oh, almost a turnover by them. And the Kraken pouncing on it almost, but back down to the other end of the ice. But yeah, it looks like we're going to get through that first 5 minutes of the period. I like to call it a clean first 5 on Twitter when I live tweet. Victor Rask, he's playing pretty good tonight. He's moved the puck pretty well. Nothing glaring on the negative side of things for him. In general, I just feel like the Kraken, they're playing a pretty solid game tonight. They had those few moments of WTF, but they've settled back in, took control back. Drieger kind of floating around outside of his net there. That was a little bit dangerous. Yep, Josh saying it too. Clean 5 minutes. If you don't follow me on Twitter, that's something I like to post. Maybe not every period, but put a hashtag on there. And I usually at my buddy Jim because, man, early in this year it just seemed like they couldn't even get out of the first 1 minute sometimes without giving up a goal. It was just painful to watch at times. But that's part of being an expansion team, right? To take your lumps, you're gonna have to struggle. Ty says, "Whoa, almost a dang it there." Yeah, tend the goal. I would agree. I would tend to. Oh, there's a pun. I would tend to agree with that. Stay in your net, Driegs. It was a little. I was a little surprised that Drieger got the start tonight, but I mean, I guess they're kind of rotating him at this point because he's healthy. Gonna get a little bit of a look at both of them. Some collisions there down behind the net. Gone off to the corner, guys trading barbs there. I thought maybe somebody was gonna drop the gloves for a second, but they're gonna keep going. Nobody can afford to take a penalty at this point. But yeah, Drieger, stay in your net. Big hit there by Adam Larson on number 10 for Ottawa. I can't think of his name right now. Sorry, I don't know Ottawa's roster that well. The struggles of not having any stats in front of you, kind of at the helm of a lot of things here. So maybe someday I'll do like a little behind the scenes, but I've got like the live video over here. I kind of have my game notes, and then I've got my control center, and then the chat, and then I've got my a couple pages here with social media. I haven't really looked at that much throughout, but yeah. All right, so we're just under 14 minutes now. I can still have that edge in shots. It just feels like the Kraken are doing a pretty good job kind of sealing things off and getting out of their end fast. Ty just mentioned that too. Senators having a tougher time entering the zone. So, and we actually was talking about this a little bit Saturday at the game. It felt like the Kraken were playing a little bit of a softer gap on the blue line, letting New Jersey kind of get into the zone. So maybe that was an emphasis point to close that gap up a little bit, stand up the blue line a little more, contest those pucks as they come in, and get a little more physical too. Lars with a bunch of smashes. Let's go. Yeah, I love watching Lars get physical out there. I mean, that is one area, and I was going to talk a little bit about this with Alex while I was here. Didn't quite get to that question I had for him, but maybe I'll ask it to you guys as we watch here. Under 13 minutes to go now in the third. 3-2 Kraken with that lead after a couple of response goals. Really good to see that. But the question I was going to pose to him is that, and he was even talking about signing, potentially Philip Forsberg. So my question was going to be, is Seattle maybe built a little too soft and too much finesse, especially without Tanev in the lineup? We've kind of noticed at times they're not. Ooh, big hit there. I didn't see who that was, but one of the Kraken got knocked over pretty good there. Middle of the zone, playing defense, and then they iced the puck, so they're going to come back down here. 12:15 left. I think that's going to take us. Does that take you into the commercial break there? Really good chance for Ottawa. Drieger, great positioning, nice save there. Glove save. It kind of bounced off the bottom of his glove. Not too dangerous, though. The Kraken cleaned it up in front of the net pretty quick. Got it out of danger. Anyhow, so that question I want to pose to you guys now. Just kind of curious. Do you think Seattle's built a little too soft? Do they need a little more grit? Or are we going to get that when Tanev comes back next year? I mean, like the Western Division has typically been pretty tough and tumble. It's changing a little bit now with Connor McDavid and some of the talent you're seeing coming in. But Calgary, they're top of the division right now. They're a pretty heavy team. They play great defense. They're not afraid to get physical. I wonder if maybe that will be an area that the Kraken think about as they build this. Like, obviously, you want that offensive talent and the finesse, but you still need that balance of physicality, especially in the Western Pacific Division, which is traditionally a pretty rough division. But it is changing. You're seeing a lot of change from Los Angeles and Anaheim now, like we talked about earlier with the skillet up. So yeah, Ty mentioning here, he says they do a 1-2-2 neutral zone. Top forward is heavy aggressive on the forecheck. First pair of forwards typically float around the defensive blue line. Okay. Defense often up near the red line. So yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I just felt like on Saturday, it just kind of felt like they fell out of that a little bit. It felt like they were, compared to tonight, and maybe just 2 games isn't the best example to try to break structure down, but feels like tonight they're trying to stand up the blue line just a little bit more than they were Saturday. It felt like Saturday, and maybe that's just because New Jersey's a little better in transition. I'm not sure, but did feel like New Jersey was getting into our zone easier Saturday. And I remember I sent you that heat map, Ty specifically. It was kind of a joke because they kept getting those chances like directly in front of Grubauer, and luckily they didn't score on a bunch of them. But yeah, Ty saying Driggs is giving up rebounds, which is scary. So far, it hasn't cost him. I've been noticing that too. The defenders did a pretty good job cleaning that last one up, but something to keep an eye on as we go down the stretch here. Shots 24-11 for Seattle. Ottawa fishing for that next goal here, tie things up. Have to see what happens. So we're in break right now. Mentioned it earlier, but it's worth mentioning again because I love Marshawn Lynch and Macklemore. I'll pop that up on the screen. Part of your new ownership group, 2 Seattle legends. That's pretty cool. And then they had the video of, I don't know, did you guys see that? Marshawn Lynch spinning donuts out on the ice at the practice facility. The one guy that tweeted that, he was like, okay, it's official now. I can actually tweet. That tweet like blew up. I can't remember his account, but it was good. Josh mentioning, I think they could use a couple guys that can throw the bodies. Sometimes you need to have that physical play. And, I agree. So I feel like they lost a large element of that when Tanev went down to injury. I guess, just personally, I thought Alexiak was going to be a little bit heavier throwing the body at times. But I think he's kind of seen a trend up in his play throughout the season. I don't think he was real comfortable to start the year, but he's such a big guy. You would just think that he's just going to be slamming people around. And that's not to say that he hasn't had some great hits and body checks throughout the season, but I just thought you'd see a little more physicality from him at times on the back end. Adam Larson has really stepped up. I think he's played much better since the trade deadline. Alex kind of alluded to that too. Just kind of have to see how these guys progress, and as they get more comfortable in this scheme, in this city, and in the arena that they're playing in, and used to their teammates, see how things develop as we go. Yeah, Ty mentioning, kind of responding back when I was talking about, how they're playing, defending the blue line. That aggressive scheme has them on their heels often. So, and I guess that makes sense that their gap coverage, and so gap coverage, the amount of space you're leaving between the opposing player and yourself on the ice. Seemed like it fluctuated a little bit too far than I was liking on Saturday, but they ended up getting a good result. So, and now with Matty Beniers, you're seeing some improvement on the power play. So I'm excited right now. Got a lot of momentum going. We're playing really well. We're playing 500 hockey right now. Admittedly, against some teams that aren't great. Like New Jersey, they're struggling. Without Jack Hughes especially. It would have been fun to see Jack Hughes. He's pretty good. Can't wait to see him kind of continue to explode onto the scene. Young guys in this league are just electric to watch. A lot of fun. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in tonight. It's been a lot of fun. First ever watch along. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for more. Had a great guest. Some great engagement and interaction in the chat. It's a lot of fun for me to do this. Again, if you want to support me, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing different segments, trying different things, interacting with the community. I've got an interview coming up with a great guy. Everybody knows him, Paul Buxton. We're going to try to time that up with the last game of the season against the Sharks. I grew up watching the Sharks. He's a big guy, big Sharks guy. I think he was actually from San Jose as well. And actually going to try to check back in with Shalana Goldman, NHL writer down there in San Jose. She was my very first interview that participated when I launched the channel. We actually had some video issues. I really wanted to get her back on, and she's going to be able to do that, so I got to figure out the time. And really great conversation with her. Just an amazing writer, amazing mind for hockey, and really can't wait to have her back on the stream too. So it's been really cool, kind of reach out, start to get to know people a little bit more as this thing builds. Ty says, not great versus not great is a good matchup. Colorado game will probably be brutal. So I wasn't the other one against Colorado at Seattle. I think it got out of control. Wasn't it like 6-2 or 7-2? I did not go to that game, but I remember watching it, and it didn't go great. I'm not sure if you remember or not. Bazzy H. Colorado just lost again to the Caps. By the way, thanks for jumping on the stream. Am I saying your name right? Bazzy? Close enough. But yeah, thanks for jumping over. We've had a lot of fun tonight. If you missed earlier, maybe rewind or watch the replay. We had Alex from the Twitter account at Kraken Canada. Great guy. Great mind for hockey. He runs a great account. Really fun. Go follow him on Twitter. Check it out. Yeah, Ty's saying it was 7-2. Oof. Yeah, that's a rough one. We won't blame you, Ty. I mean, I know, like you didn't have the greatest record until Saturday, but it had to do something with Dylan actually visiting too, right? So maybe that kind of broke the streak. Still got to meet those guys. I realized like I'm doing a YouTube channel and they do a YouTube channel and there's all these, reasons to not cross promote, but I'm going to because I like what they do. So they're awesome. In fact, they kind of inspired me a little bit because I wanted to actually start this thing earlier on in the season, but life happens, right? It just didn't work out. And so I worked at it and I built it up and we got it off the ground and running. So it's been fun for me to be a part of it. And, season 1, wanted to get my foot in the door a little bit as far as just going through the paces of challenging myself to do it. And so here we are. A lot of fun. To do a live show, get to meet people, interact in the chat. Ty was 0-15 till Saturday. When attending games, not just watching. Hopefully you've watched more than 15 games, but in live attendance, he was 0-15. So yeah, let's look at the scores real quick. Bazzy H mentioned that Colorado lost again to the Caps. So down there, got my score bar. Calgary gets the win over Chicago 5-2, and we're just under 8 minutes left here with the Kraken. Don't want to get too distracted. Washington beat Colorado 3-2. Carolina looks like they're winning against Arizona 5-3. Las Vegas struggling against New Jersey, so that is a bit of a head scratcher because Las Vegas absolutely has to win games at this point. So I don't know. I don't know where they're at tonight. So far, they're not arriving, and it's the third period. So, in Dallas and Vancouver, into the second there, Vancouver with a 4-2 edge. So that might help Vegas with Dallas losing, but man, you just can't afford to be losing to the Devils at this point of the season when you need wins. Oh, see, yeah, they're good guys. I wouldn't. You do different stuff also, so yeah, yeah, and even if it is competitive, that's a good thing for both us and other podcasts. And you want to have a variety. You want to have lots of people kind of pushing the envelope forward, trying new things, and just spitting out good content. We don't want to just have like one person or one, like that. That's my take on it. I think it's good to have a variety. You like Steve Dangle, and I watched the Teal Town guys from San Jose, and you got to have all these from all over the place. So yeah, no, there's no animosity there. Like I said, I would like to actually meet them at some point. I'm probably going to tune into their post game tonight because I'm not doing a post game show. I've just been live streaming for 3 hours, 2.5 hours. My wife might kill me if I don't go hang out a little bit here soon, but she knows it's Kraken time right now, and she's very supportive. I'm very, very thankful to have a person that supports me through this stuff. So find your person that's like that. 0-15 in the house. Yeah, so you've watched every game. So in the house, 0-15. But now you're 1-15. So you need to amend your stat there. Seattle Sports Diaries. What's up, Mike? Best name in the world. Are you going out to the 32 Crew watch party this weekend? Thanks for jumping on the stream. Says Matty Beniers. What a good dude. Matty Beniers is the best. I love him already. I think the city's already falling in love with him. So I'd keep my eyes peeled here because it looks like Kraken getting a little bit of a break up the ice here. Just over 6 minutes left. Breaking in, and it looks like we've got a Kraken goal. Looks like Chris Kuhlman just gliding in through the slot there, buries it. And that might just do it, folks. Kraken looking to get their second win in a row. They're going to go up 4-2 here. Marshawn Lynch celebrating behind the glass there. You love to see that. So it's 4-2 now, just over 6 to go. Yeah. Josh saying boom. What a great goal. Nice move by Kuhlman. He kind of took it, drug it over to his right side there. Good retrieval by Yanni Gord to get the assist, and he just makes that extra little move to get Forsberg, Ottawa's goalie, to move laterally. He opens up, and again, a stick side goal. So good point earlier. I think Ty mentioned that. Cooley. Yeah, and we got the beast mode Selly along the glass. Love to see it. There he is again. Oh, man, I wish I could meet Marshawn Lynch. That guy is so cool. Seattle Sports Diary says Matty Beniers, 19 years old, three straight games scoring, superstar. I mean, so far he has been. He's been electric. Really fun to see him on the ice. Okay, so you're traveling Thursday, won't be at the watch party. That's okay. So let's try to link up at one of the games or one of the next watch parties. And I know we were going to try to do another great podcast. If you guys aren't familiar, Mike with Seattle Sports Diaries, he brings guys on. He talks about all Seattle sports. The guy is like an encyclopedia of sports, Seattle sports knowledge, and sports knowledge in general. So Josh and Bazzy and some of the guys and gals that have joined in tonight that maybe aren't familiar, check him out too. Again, just want to kind of direct people to some of the great channels and things that we've got going out here on the West Coast. And yeah, it's all good. Mike, let's try to get you on over here at some point. Tonight I had a guest from Canada on. I've been planning that for a little while. Takes me a little more work to get things organized sometimes. It's harder for me to kind of do it rapid fire. But as I improve, maybe we can have you jump on a little more impromptu when you're able in the future. And yeah, I'd love to drop by your show sometime, anytime. All right, so we got a challenge on the goal. I got to keep focused here. I'm losing track a little bit. They're checking to see if it was offside. I don't think it was. What do you guys think? Josh says we always lose these challenges. I mean, you can't tell from that angle. Let's see the angle from across ice. Ties checking. Say no replay yet. I'm assuming, yeah, they're challenging for offside, correct? Yeah. We lead the league in goals taken back. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, that's going to be a good goal, isn't it? Appreciate the shout out. Hey, anytime. Like I said, I love watching your show. I know starting off like I am, it can be tough. I know you've been doing it a while. It can be a grind at times. So yeah, I appreciate all the things that you do. Your guests, the guys that you have on your channel are fantastic. So again, check out Seattle Sports Diaries. Great Twitter follow too, and he's knee deep in Mariners coverage right now. Okay, so here's the call. Oh, they're checking for a high stick. Oh, so it's going to be a no goal. Oh, man, yeah. Sorry, I missed that a little bit. Got a little distracted in the comments, but... Oh, yeah, they cut the replay early, too. So they call it no goal. You can actually see it here from this thing. I wondered why they were looking at this angle. Again, it's hard without the game audio. It's the second hit. It's not the first one as it comes up by his waist. It's that second hit in the air. And you can kind of even see his reaction. He just taps it with the high stick. So probably the right call. Back to 3-2, 6 minutes left. Kind of a bummer. Yeah, good call, Josh, there. High stick. Thanks for cluing me in. Like I said, when you're doing the one-man stream thing, like I've got a lot of stuff I'm looking at going on here, but appreciate the feedback there. Another shot of Macklemore in beast mode. Maybe they're logging into the stream right now. No, they're not. That would be some serious funny stuff, though. Get him to join up. Right, yeah. Time mentioning. So for those of you who don't understand that rule, if he hits it with a high stick, he can't be the first guy to play it. Ottawa has to play it to clear it out. But since he was, they should have blown it dead, but the play continued. So, it looked like a pretty good play there, but upon review, not great. Yeah, time mention has to be played by Ottawa if he hits it high. But yeah, keep at it. Let's keep grinding. Don't let it kill the momentum. So we're going with, what do we got here? 5 minutes left. All right, we'll kind of set the stage again. Kraken got that first goal of the game, right? Take a look here. See the rundown. Kraken got that first goal of the game. Daniel Sprong, power play goal. Really good start for the Kraken, okay? They get through that first period, and then they come out in the second period. They kind of lose focus a little bit. Brady Tkachuk gets his 28th of the season. Connor Brown with the assist. Nick Holden then follows that up just a couple minutes later, 3 minutes into the second period. And you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, Kraken with another stinker to start the second here. Are they going to let this get out of control? But no, they didn't. Matty Beniers, about 6 minutes later, 9:52 into the period, gets his second goal for the Kraken in as many games. He scored the other night, got his first career goal, and what a scene that was at Climate Pledge Arena. So that tied it up at 2-2, and then a little bit later, right towards the end of the second period, the Kraken turned the tide back in their favor, played pretty good throughout the second, and they got that goal from Victor Rask coming up the left side. Really good snapshot. Matty Beniers' goal was great too, so go make sure you watch the replay of that if you didn't see it. So that gave him the 3-2 lead, and then the call there that wiped out the last goal, and we're back 3-2 now. 5:25 coming out of the break. Kraken really need to focus on nice clean finish here. I would anticipate Ottawa is going to pull their goalie, probably about 2 minutes, minute and a half left. Let's see how things go. Yeah, Josh mentioning the same thing kind of ties saying, don't let this be the turning point for sure. These are the big moments, right? So it all kind of leads meanders around, and you see the Flames Blackhawks that did go final. Caps Avalanche went final. They're kind of showing that on the broadcast. But yeah, these are the moments you really got to bear down. You don't let it get away from you. You've got a nice lead here, 3-2. You've been playing pretty good. So attention to detail. You got to win these face-offs like this one right here. Get out of your zone clean, quick, get a nice breakout, and let it feed some transition, get some offense going, and put them back playing defense. But it's hard. When you've got a lead like this and you're trying to hang on to it, the sports psychology kicks in a little bit, and you tend to let up on the gas, even if that's not the strategy you want to deploy. It happens. I mean, it always happens. And then the other team, as they try to come back, they're really trying to kind of dig in. You see that in all sports. Not just hockey, but hockey's a really momentum-fueled game. So it can change very fast, and if teams grab onto that, you get yourself into trouble if you don't steady things or it gets out of control. Ottawa doing a really good job keeping the zone right now. Kraken would be well served to get a clear, not ice it. You don't want to have another face-off in your own end. Ooh, that was a crazy chance there. Seattle Sports Diaries mentioning, don't forget K Hart. Yeah, no, definitely not forgetting him. I'm not as familiar with all the names. That guy's been a huge part of our family. He says, just like Mike, a Ducks fan becomes a Kraken fan as well. He's also is the new co-host to the new movie commentary podcast. So check that one out too. I'll have to jump over for that. I'm not a huge movie buff, so that would be good for me. Maybe I'll get a little movie education. So I'll check that one out too. But yeah, K Hart. I remember I did watch a stream where he had his Ducks jersey, and seems like a good dude. Okay, so we got 3:48 left. Quickly approaching the end here, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I've said it a couple times. I don't want to say it too much, but if it is your first time dropping by, hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing here. Check out some of the other content on the page. I'm over on Twitter too. It's at SasquatchNHL. That's kind of has been my main jam for a while. I love Twitter, but I decided to kind of venture into the YouTube land, and so far it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing this, and I really enjoy interacting with you guys. Not going to do a whole lot of watch-alongs, just, one here and there every now and then, but I do like doing the post-game reaction. Call it post-game rapid reaction. I do my morning cup of Kraken, usually in the mornings, right? Sometimes I do that live, but I change it up a little bit here and there. Maddie had a really long shift, Ty pointed out. Played it really well. Good reads. What you like to see here is you're getting down to crunch time. It's good to see him deploying him at this moment, too. Sometimes, a new guy, new rookie, you're a little hesitant to throw him on the ice. Bazzy H mentioning he did fail to get it deep twice, so something to kind of keep an eye on as we go down the stretch. Victor Rask, now he has it down there in the zone. Kraken trying to get maybe a couple shots here just to apply a little bit of pressure, relieve their own end a little bit, give Drieger a chance to breathe and think about things. And we're getting to the point where I'm going to keep an eye on Forsberg probably coming out of that net here pretty quick. So it'd be great if we could get an empty netter, finish this one off. After the game, if you guys want to stick around for just a few minutes, I'm going to do a quick little rundown, look ahead, and then sign out for the night. And then I'm probably going to jump offline and maybe even jump over to the ECH post-game. That's always fun. Comments over there, interact with everybody. They have a very, very busy live chat there. Lots of people to hang out with and talk with, so that's fun. Seattle Sports Diaries saying, the young guns for the Kraken seem to be playing so well together and have been giving the team some W's for sure. So earlier in the cast, in the stream, we were talking about this really since the trade deadline. They've kind of come together. Some of the newer, younger guys have re-energized the team a little bit. You just feel like the team's kind of settled in and said, okay, well, this is what we've got going forward for now. Let's make the most of it. Let's kind of bond together and see what we can do. And out of that, they've played 500 hockey. They're 7-7 right now, on the verge of going 8-7 in their last 15. So for a year one expansion team, that faced a pretty uphill climb as far as the draft they had, and just kind of the start to the year that they had. Everything just slowly kind of developed, and they really struggled down early in the year. But I mean, this is good to see. Really kind of building something going into the offseason. Maybe we don't want to build it too much because we want to have that first draft pick. But all right, so here goes Forsberg for Ottawa. He's off to the bench. They've pulled the goalie. Kraken are looking at an empty net to possibly ice this one and get another win. Just over a minute to go. Yeah, Ty responding to Bazzi that there was a few others having troubles getting it out. So there we go. Jared McCann into the empty net. It kind of sprung free, and the Kraken are going to win this one. Got another goal, 4-2. Sound the horn. Celebrate the night. What a game, guys. Thanks a lot for joining up for this one. Back-to-back wins for your Kraken, and they are 8-7 in the last 15 games. Oh, man. It's been a lot of fun. But, slow down a little bit. We don't want to win all of our last few games. We probably need to lose a couple, but I'm not going to complain about that. Can seals it. Canner solo. Love it. 4-2, just over a minute left. I did not see who was behind him. My screen up here is a little too small. I can't really see the numbers very well. Doing my best, though. So under a minute now. That's McCann's 26th of the year. Assist to Donato and Vince Dunn. Oh, Gord was behind him. Okay. 26 goals. So Alex from at Kraken Canada was mentioning, there's still that possibility that Canner can get to 30 goals. So he needs 4 more. Going to be really close to that 30 goal, which is, it's a real good big marker for guys in the league. You hit that 30 goal mark. That's a good career milestone for you. And I'm not sure if he's done that yet. I don't know if he's been a 30-goal scorer yet. I need to go do my research on that. So we're down just under 20 seconds. Ooh, Ottawa does get a nice shot there. Kind of centered the puck in. Bounced over to player right in front of the net there. And that could have been bad. But there's just so little time left. I don't think it would have been that big of a deal if they had scored. But yeah, nice save. Joshua mentioned that too. Nice save. Attention to detail, especially in these moments. That's something to work on. It's great you got that 2-goal lead, but you don't want to give up anything at this point. Practice good habits here. So that's going to do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Kraken have their second win in a row. We get to celebrate. I may as well just sound the horn one more time. Game over. Matty Beniers gets another goal tonight. Really love seeing that. Really great game. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Let's do a quick little recap and wind down and a sign off here in just a minute. Look at the standings here. They're not updated yet because I just flipped over, but so you got Ottawa's going to go 28, 41-7. They're winning the race to the bottom over Seattle at this point. So, I don't know. Like I said, let's just enjoy the win. Don't worry about the draft positioning. Ty pointing out, we are undefeated in the beast mode era. I love it, man. And don't forget Macklemore. All right? Shout out to both of those guys. Beast, we need to come up with like a combined nickname for them or something. All right, so Ottawa 28, 41-7 now. Seattle's going to move to 25, 44-6. So that's their 25th win of the game. They're going to yeet the fish tonight. That's everybody's favorite moment. I would love to get one of those plushy fish that they throw out, but I usually sit up a little higher. So I suggested earlier in the season that they should get the salmon cannon and actually launch those fish, like really yeet them up into the upper deck too. But Josh, yeah, okay, thanks for the stream. Really enjoyed it. Getting close to 12:40. Yeah, man, thanks for sticking through the whole stream on the East Coast. I really appreciate that. And, again, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again on another stream. Check out my next morning cup of Kraken coming here soon. and spread the word. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Josh. I saying Mac is more the music side of the house. Yeah, that's true. Oh, no goalie kiss tonight. Well, that's the way it goes. All right, so let's take a quick look ahead at the upcoming schedule. We got the Avalanche on Wednesday on 4/20. I think it's Green Day or something like that, the theme, which is, appropriate for the symbolic date too. So, and then you've got the Wild coming in on Friday. Actually, no, we're going on the road to play Minnesota. Again, that 32 crew watch party. I'm going to be out at that to watch the Minnesota Wild game. Kraken Community Iceplex. I'll see you guys there if you're there. If not, I'll probably be on Twitter a little bit that game and no live stream that night. So, next one after that is in Dallas the next night on the 23rd, and then we go up to Vancouver, back home against the Kings, and then last game of the season against the San Jose Sharks on April 29th. Can't wait to see it. So, all right, 6 games to go, and year 1 for the Kraken is going to be over. A lot of fun. So thanks again, you guys, for tuning into the stream tonight. Really enjoyed it. Really had fun interacting with you. Appreciate all the support. Let's do this again real soon, maybe one in the playoffs. I'll let you know. Follow me on Twitter in the meantime. That's at Sasquatch NHL. And how about those Kraken? 2 wins in a row? Right? Can't ask for more than that. Yeah. Maybe a couple losses, though. That would be good. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll catch you on another stream real soon. And have a great night. We'll talk to you later.